Chapter 15. One who was willing to offend a faction like the Fearless Alliance? They'd merely be asking for trouble. It was fine when Bro Flat Top went missing, but now that she was back, the Fearless Alliance was probably going to return to its peak, and no one would dare to provoke them. At the same time, because everyone was focused on Baifeng, no one noticed a black car without a license plate was slowly driving toward them on the other side of the road. Oh damn, what's going on? Lin Kei acutely noticed the nearby situation, and quickly steered the car to park to the side. Ninth brother. Look. Isn't that Yi Wanwan? In the back seat, the man who kept his eyes closed the whole time slowly opened his eyes. His icy eyes turned to the nearby building. Soon he saw a girl leading a few people, stopping in front of Emperor Ji and a group of leaders. Because they weren't too far, they could faintly hear the conversation. Damn. What's happening? Why is that girl at Emperor Ji's headquarters? Lin Kei's face was nearly pasted to the window. They had business matters to deal with today. Originally, they didn't have to pass by this spot, but it had been a few days since that girl, Yi Wanwan, was poisoned by love goo, and there hadn't been any reactions or visits from her. Hence, he couldn't help making a detour over here. What he didn't expect was to run into her while passing by Emperor Ji's headquarters before they reached the Fearless Alliance. In the midst of an ocean of cautious gazes, Yi Wanwan raised her hand and waved at them with a smile. Hey everyone. I trust you've been well since we last met. Humph. Everyone looked immensely disdainful. Baifeng, what do you want to do? Someone shouted admonishingly. Yi Wanwan grinned and said, Don't worry, I just came here to have a few words with Emperor Ji. Came here for Emperor Ji? Everyone looked at each other, caution building in their eyes. Does Bro Flat Top want to cause trouble again? Ji Xiran wore a warm smile as he gently looked at her. May I ask what business President Bai has with me? Ah, there's business. Yi Wanwan turned her head and said to Big Dipper and 7 Star. Why are you standing around? Hurry and open the trunk. Big Dipper. I'm already dead from short-circuiting. Yi Wanwan glowered at him. Don't make me kill you myself. Big Dipper had no choice but to close his eyes, grit his teeth, and forcefully press the remote control to open the trunk. Oh shit. Be careful, everyone. Draw back, everyone. Be careful, Emperor Ji. When everyone saw Yi Wanwan ordering Big Dipper to open the trunk, they thought there was a trap stowed in the trunk, and they turned pale with fright. Only Emperor Ji calmly remained in place, his gaze on the girl unchanging. Inside the black car, Lin Kei's eyes shot open. There aren't explosives in the trunk, right? The man in the back seat kept silent, quietly sitting there like a recently awoken beast. In the next second, the trunk lid rose slowly. Under everyone's terrified gazes, the lid finally opened completely, revealing the trunk, brimming with roses. Chapter 1502. It wasn't a trap or explosives. It was a trunk full of fresh and vivacious white roses whose petals were still gleaming with dewdrops. Beautiful and alluring. Silence descended on everyone as they became dumbstruck. Ha! It turned out to be our roses? What's going on? Everyone looked baffled. Yi Wanwan looked at Emperor Ji and said languidly, Just a small present as my thanks to you. Do you like them, Emperor Ji? When Yi Wanwan finished speaking, someone's sword fell and loudly clattered onto the ground, followed by a wave of shocked gasps. Everyone looked at Yi Wanwan like they'd seen a ghost. Shit. What did they see? Baifeng actually gave roses to Emperor Ji? Damn. Is Baifeng insane? I've always heard the president of the Fearless Alliance, Baifeng, was flirtatious and passionate. It looks like it's true. But she even dared to provoke Emperor Ji? Isn't she too gutsy? I think she wants to die. How could Emperor Ji allow her to act so insolently? Even Big Dipper also thought they were dead for sure, let alone other people. Meanwhile, 7 Star was on high alert, prepared for any situation. Under everyone's gazes, Ji Xiran stepped forward and slowly strolled to the trunk of roses. A faint smile was on his lips as he extended his slender fingers and pulled out a white rose from the trunk before lifting it to his nose to have a light sniff. A smile bloomed across the man's face. That smile caused Yi Wanwan to blink, dazzled. The man in front of her was simply more stunning than a whole trunk of white roses. At the same time, a piercing pain radiated from her head. What's happening? Yuanwan furrowed her brows. However, that peculiar feeling only lasted a moment and disappeared before she could capture it. With a white rose in hand, Ji Xiran tenderly and indulgently looked at her. Thank you, President Bai. I really like them. The audience's eyes nearly fell out from shock. Damn. Emperor Ji isn't seeking retribution? What kind of huge-ass luck did this woman get? It's only because Emperor Ji has a good temper. If it was that one, she'd probably be dead without a burial place already. That one. Only if she really wants to die. Right now, the one they were speaking of was sitting in the black car across from them. Lin Kei felt like this narrow space would be shortly shattered by a certain someone's pressure when that trunk of roses was revealed. Fuck. A trunk of explosives would be better. This was simply more terrifying than explosives. Originally, he thought Ninth Brother's emotions these last few days were too frightening, so he wanted to make a detour here to scout for information about that girl. He never would have expected to be accosted by this scene. This was the end of the world. On the other hand, Big Dipper and Seven Star both relaxed. Big Dipper nearly collapsed from fright. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Thank goodness Emperor Ji had a good temper. Thank goodness the recipient of their president's public flower giving wasn't Lord Azura. Skeleton, next to Emperor Ji, coughed lightly with an embarrassed expression. This mistress' personality was seriously the same as before. She even dared to do something like give flowers to Emperor Ji in public. But Skeleton covertly peeked at his master. It looked like Emperor Ji was in a rather good mood. Chapter 1503. After making everyone's jaws drop, Yuanwan originally planned to leave after handing over the flowers, but she caught the nearby black car from the corner of her eye. She saw that car before inside Azura's manor. After some thought, Yuanwan changed what she was going to say. I'm glad you like them. Well, is Emperor Ji free tonight for a meal with me? First she gave flowers. Now she was openly asking for a date. Ji Xiran glanced at the leaders who wanted to have a meal with him and said, Apologies, everyone. I have a prior engagement tonight, so it'll have to be another time. Have a prior engagement? So Emperor Ji actually accepted Bro Flat Top's invitation? Please. Yuanwan was immensely satisfied by this result, and eagerly opened the door to the red Ferrari. Part of the reason she gave flowers to Emperor Ji was to maintain Bai Feng's personality to prevent Emperor Ji from growing suspicious. The other reason was, of course, to electrify a certain someone. Just like that, Ji Xiran entered the car under everyone's watchful eyes. Then they watched as that arrogant Ferrari sent dust flying in their faces. Inside the black car, Lin Kei stiffly turned his head to look at the man in the back. Ninth brother, should we follow and see? Go back. The man closed his eyes again. Lin Kei grew more frightened upon seeing Si Yihan's face looking so placid. This was the calm before the storm. Inside a high-class Western restaurant in the independent state, Big Dipper risked his life to disobey Sis Feng's orders, and reserved a high-class business private room instead of a lover's private room. After Sis Feng entered with Emperor Ji, Big Dipper stayed with Seven Star outside the door and stood guard. Big Dipper made a praying motion with his hands clasped. Oh merciful Buddha! Thank God Emperor Ji didn't get angry. Seven Star didn't say anything. He didn't find this outcome too strange. With Emperor Ji's shrewdness, there was no way he'd wear his emotions on his face. Since Emperor Ji didn't plan to attack the Fearless Alliance right now, he wouldn't blow up over such a trivial matter. I'm suddenly glad that it's Emperor Ji who Sis Feng likes. If she suicidally coveted Lord Azura, that'd be the true disaster. Big Dipper murmured with lingering fears. Just as he relaxed, he thought of something and became terrified, color draining out of his face. It's over, it's over. A single man and a single woman together in the same room by themselves. Sis Feng won't lose control and do something, right? Seven Star glanced at Big Dipper, a slight frown on his face. Probably not. Big Dipper was in a tizzy. What do you mean probably not? She's someone who dared to forcefully kiss even Lord Azura. She's definitely capable of doing something like forcefully having her way with Emperor Ji, alright? At that moment, inside the private room, the atmosphere was rather harmonious actually. Yi Wanwan raised her champagne and saluted the man across from her. I couldn't control myself last time. You won't take offense, right? In truth, she didn't feel like there was anything Emperor Ji should take offense to. It wasn't until she visited the Ji residence that she learned Emperor Ji had a fiancé already. A fiancé the Ji family acknowledged too. He was probably just in a fake relationship with Baifeng. Emperor Ji smiled noncommittally. I'll help you think of a solution for the goo poison. Thanks. Don't worry, I'd rather die than submit. Yi Wanwan exclaimed righteously, as though she definitely didn't have any ulterior motives regarding Lord Azura. Chapter 1504. 1504. He was a man, after all, so he definitely would mind this kind of thing. Yi Wanwan hastily changed the topic. Yesterday, students from Scarlet Flames Academy and Stars and Sun Academy started fighting in the Fearless Alliance's territory. Oh? And then? Ji Xiran asked. We broke them apart. If anything happened while they were fighting on my territory, whose fault would it be? Oh right, I heard. The headmaster of Scarlet Flames Academy is a master of hypnotism? Yi Wanwan probed furtively. Emperor Ji's eyes glinted, and he put down the cup in his hand before looking at her. That's right, the old headmaster is an expert in this area. However, he's been extremely elusive these past years, and only rare SSS-level students of Scarlet Flames Academy can contact him. SSS-level students. Yi Wanwan sounded a bit disappointed. With her level, she might not even reach F level, let alone SSS level. Did that mean she wouldn't be able to see the old headmaster? Why are you suddenly interested in this? Ji Xiran asked. Oh, it's nothing. I was just bored and asked randomly. Yi Wanwan replied casually. After eating dinner, Yi Wanwan glanced at the time and thought it was late enough, so she paid the bill and decided to leave. As Big Dipper anxiously waited, the two of them finally finished eating and came out. As soon as they came out, Big Dipper immediately approached Yi Wanwan and quietly asked, Sis Feng, you didn't do anything, right? We were just eating. What could I have done? Yi Wanwan glanced at him in confusion. Big Dipper. He secretly peeked at Emperor Ji and confirmed that his clothes were still neat and his expression was normal before relaxing. At the restaurant's entrance. Let me escort you back, Yi Wanwan suggested. Ha! Why did a man like Emperor Ji need a girl to escort him home? This is completely a typical trick to charm women, okay? Big Dipper wanted to stop Yi Wanwan, but Emperor Ji responded. Emperor Ji chuckled lightly. Sure. Big Dipper. Is it my imagination? Why do I feel like Emperor Ji is overly indulgent when it comes to Sis Feng? Yi Wanwan drove Emperor Ji home in the flashy sports car. After Emperor Ji left, Big Dipper clapped his chest and relaxed ferociously. As he drove in the front, he said, Sis Feng, it's been a terrifying day for me. Thank goodness nothing bad happened. We can finally go home. In the back seat, Yi Wanwan tilted her head and lightly tapped her forehead with her fingers. She aloofly called, Big Dipper. What's Sis Feng? Big Dipper turned his head to glance at her. We're not going back yet. Huh. Not going back. Then where are we going? It's so late already. We're going to Azura's manor. Followed by a piercing screech, Big Dipper made a giant S on the road. Fuck. A hysterical roar was heard from Big Dipper. In the end, 7-Star had to grab the steering wheel to stabilize the car, but the two of them were still frightened beyond their minds. 7-Star also clearly didn't expect Yi Wanwan to want to go see Azura after driving Emperor Ji home. Sis Feng, are you for real? You harassed Emperor Ji in the morning, and now want to go find Lord Azura at night. Do you want to fly into space? Big Dipper looked like he was on the brink of a breakdown. Yi Wanwan gave him side-eye. Do as I say. Why are you wasting time? Big Dipper looked at her meaningfully. Sis Feng, is it cause you know you don't have much time left, so you've completely freed yourself? I've always been this free. Thank you very much, Yi Wanwan replied. Fine, I can't refute this. Chapter 1505. But Sis Feng, why are you going to Azura so late at night? Big Dipper asked weakly. Yi Wanwan propped her chin up. Guess. Of course it was to harvest her fruits. Forget it, I don't want to know. Big Dipper was unwilling to drive, so Yuanwan ended up picking him up and throwing him in the back before racing to her destination. Sisfong, please reconsider. You can have any man you want. I'll go and look for you. I'll look for whatever kind you want. Please calm down, Sisfong. Big Dipper latched onto Yuanwan's thighs with both arms. Performing a night attack on Azura's manor? It was simply suicidal. Sisfong, this truly isn't appropriate. 7-Star also spoke up. Yuanwan glanced at them. All right, I'll tell you the truth. The person I love is Lord Azura, so I only need Lord Azura to fall in love with me to cure the goo. I'm just trying to preserve my life. Big Dipper immediately said, don't joke around, Sisfong. During the day, you sent flowers to Emperor Ji and asked him for a dinner date. Then, during the night, you claim the one you love is Lord Azura. So how many people do you love? Yuanwan's lips twitched. Why didn't anyone believe her when she spoke the honest truth for once? After finally shaking off Big Dipper and 7-Star for half a day, Yuanwan climbed the wall and entered the courtyard. She figured out the layout last time she was there, so she successfully found Lord Azura's bedroom. Yuanwan silently opened the bedroom window and jumped inside. There wasn't anything special about the room, and it matched the rest of the manor's style. The furniture was also very simple, and there were a few German books laying on the nightstand. Why isn't there anyone here? Yuanwan murmured. It should be about time to get ready for bed. Plus, the lights inside the room were turned on. Yuanwan was in deep thought when the sound of a door opening came from the bathroom behind her. She reflexively looked back and saw a half-naked man with only a towel wrapped around the lower half of his body. When the man saw her, his pupils evidently contracted. His hair was a bit wet still, and beads of water were rolling down his naked chest. The sudden visual shock caused Yuanwan to freeze in her spot. She had rather good timing. She managed to run into a beauty leaving the bath. Ahem, esteemed Lord Azura, we meet again. Yuanwan greeted him with a dry chuckle, acting like she hadn't snuck into someone's house. Lord Azura was Lord Azura indeed. He was only dumbfounded for a second before his expression returned to normal. May I ask why President Bai is visiting me so late at night? The man asked. Yuanwan regretfully scanned his body. Unfortunately, Si Yihan didn't have any scars or birthmarks on his body, or else this would have been a good opportunity. Detecting her fixed gaze on his body, the man's eyes darkened. Yuanwan regained her senses and naturally sat down on a nearby chair and poured a cup of tea for herself. She propped her chin on her hand and said, It's about curing the goo, of course. May I ask if my esteemed Lord Azura is done thinking about it? The man's eyes were darker than the night sky outside the window, as though there was something extremely terrifying shackled inside them. A moment later, the man icily replied, It appears President Bai's feelings for Emperor Ji are just that. Chapter 1506. It appears President Bai's feelings for Emperor Ji are just that. The man stared at Yuanwan with his unfathomable eyes. What are you trying to say, esteemed Lord Azura? Yuanwan asked cheerfully. May I ask what President Bai wants by sneaking into my room in the middle of the night? The man asked aloofly. Yuanwan smiled and slowly walked toward him. She leaned down next to his ears. I love beauties more than power. Doesn't the esteemed Lord Azura know me at all? There was but half an inch separating him and Yuanwan. Their bodies were nearly touching, allowing him to catch a whiff of her fragrance. The primitive ferocious beast shackled inside him wanted to burst free of its prison. Please respect yourself, President Bai. The man forcefully repressed the raging inferno blazing inside of him, and looked at Yuanwan indifferently. He tried his best to pacify the primitive restlessness that arose from her enticing behavior. Respect myself. May I ask what kind of self-respect the esteemed Lord Azura is referring to? Yuanwan's eyes were curved into a crescent moon from her cheerfulness as they stared into each other's eyes. Yuanwan lifted her right hand, wanting to grab him. He furrowed his brows slightly and somehow avoided Yuanwan's hand with indiscernible movements. Yuanwan sashayed toward him with a bright grin on her face. The man remained silent and returned to the bathroom. He picked up the pajamas placed on the shelf in the bathroom and was about to get dressed when Yi Wanwan followed him inside like a shadow. Does President Bai want to watch me change? His gaze landed on Yi Wanwan. Sure. Yi Wanwan nodded with a smile. Before the man could say anything, she reached him and chuckled. How about I help the esteemed Lord Azura get dressed? No need, the man answered coldly. Really? Yi Wanwan pressed close to him, the steam in the bathroom dampening their figures. Seeing Yi Wanwan reach for him, the man lifted his right arm. She grabbed his right hand, the smile on her face giving her an innocent but seductive aura. The man's hand instinctively pushed. Caught off guard, Yi Wanwan slipped on the wet floor and fell to the side. Lord Azura frowned and stretched his arm toward Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan reached out to grab him, but physics caused her to merely drag him into the bathtub, still filled with warm water, with her. Yi Wanwan's clothes were soaked in an instant, the wet fabric revealing bits and pieces of her skin. The man's towel also slipped down partially as he pressed down on her body. A sensual atmosphere rippled through the bathroom. Esteemed Lord Azura, what are you doing? Yi Wanwan looked at the man on top of her with amusement. She could feel the searing heat emanating from the man and the peculiar change in his body. The man couldn't suppress the desire in his eyes anymore, and it was as though the primitive, ferocious beast shackled inside him had ripped apart its cage, bursting out and wanting to devour the woman underneath him without leaving a bone behind. Before the man could do anything though, a loud bang was heard and the room's door was kicked open. A second later, the red-headed Jiang Yen darted into the bathroom. The loud commotion inside the bathroom caused Jiang Yen to think an assassin entered the room, so he kicked open the door. However, after entering the bathroom, he saw Lord Azura wearing nothing but a towel as he lay atop Bai Feng. Chapter 1507. 1507. Jiang Yen thought he was seeing things for a moment. Lord Azura and Bai Feng. Sorry. Jiang Yen was stunned for a moment before quickly leaving. Due to Jiang Yan's appearance, the man's desire receded rapidly, and he regained his calm. He slowly pulled back from the woman and used the wet towel to cover his body before getting out. President Bai, you've already alerted the people outside. If you don't leave now, I'm afraid this matter will travel to Emperor Ji's ears in a few hours, the man said to her detachedly. Heh. Yi Wanwan got out of the bathtub and stared at him. Esteemed Lord Azura, what great concern you show for me. He looked at her without responding. There are clothes in the room. After saying that, the man turned and left the bathroom. When Yi Wanwan changed into men's clothing and left the bathroom, she discovered that the man was already gone, and she was the only one there. He escaped. Yi Wanwan looked pensive. She didn't know where he went, but he probably wouldn't return tonight. After straightening out her appearance, she left the manor. There were plenty of opportunities in the future. She didn't think she wouldn't be able to shatter his shell with enough stimulation. After Yi Wanwan got back to the Fearless Alliance, Big Dipper stared at her, stunned. Damn. Sis Feng, why did you come back wearing men's clothes? Wait. I feel like I've seen this outfit somewhere else before. Big Dipper fell into contemplation while staring at her clothes. Seven Star glanced at Big Dipper and said, Lord Azura wore it last time. Huh. Big Dipper nearly jumped up and looked at Yi Wanwan incredulously. Damn. Fuck me. Shit. Sis Feng, you really forced Lord Azura to have a bang? Impressive. Sis Feng, the independent state is simply your harem. You can bang whoever you want. Big Dipper gave Yi Wanwan a thumbs up with shock in his voice. Yi Wanwan. Sis Feng must be very tired right now. Let's go and allow Sis Feng to rest well and replenish her strength. Seven Star suggested after some pondering. Big Dipper was startled. Shouldn't it be Lord Azura who's tired? What rubbish are you saying? Yi Wanwan shot each of them a look. We didn't do anything. We just met up and chatted. Big Dipper and Seven Star looked at the men's clothes she was wearing. Who'd freaking believe that? She didn't do anything? Then what happened to her clothes? Why did she come back wearing Lord Azura's clothes? Sis Feng, your goo should be cured, right? Seven Star asked meaningfully. Didn't I just tell you? We just talked, so the goo isn't cured, Yi Wanwan answered. Seven Star nodded. Since Sis Feng said they didn't do anything, then they didn't do anything. See, I was telling you. How could Sis Feng have banged Lord Azura? Sis Feng, I'm not insulting you, but you should give up on titans like Lord Azura and Emperor Ji. You're just asking for ridicule, Big Dipper said with a smile. Anyway, even if Sis Feng forcefully banged Lord Azura, there was no way he'd like her, so she'd just die after banging him. Yi Wanwan had no desire to waste words on Big Dipper. After telling them to get lost, she started petting Great White and Virus. Yi Wanwan had a stroke of inspiration as she looked at Great White. Next time, she could bring Great White with her to test Lord Azura. The next morning, inside the president's office at the Fearless Alliance, Yi Wanwan's phone suddenly rang. Sister Famous, I'm at the usual place. Come over quickly, I'm taking you home. Nameless Nia's voice was emitted from the other end. Chapter 1508, Okay, I'll be there soon. After Yi Wanwan hung up, she had 7-Star prepare some presents as well as gifts for baby Tang Tang. When Yi Wanwan arrived at the agreed-upon meeting place, she entered Nameless Nia's car. Boss Famous, I just wanted you to get to know the family, but look at how many things you bought. You're too polite. A bright grin spread across Nameless Nia's face when he saw the number of bags in Yi Wanwan's hands. Nameless Nia immediately snatched a bag from her hands. That's for Tang Tang, Yi Wanwan said with a frown. Couldn't Nameless Nia behave more respectably? What about this? Nameless Nia pointed at another present. This is for Madame Nia, Yi Wanwan replied. Nameless Nia nodded before looking at Yi Wanwan with immense anticipation. What about mine? Yi Wanwan. She sighed and took out $500 bills from her wallet and placed them in Nameless Nia's hands. Is this good? Good. Ah, Sister Famous, it's your wrongdoing this time. Why are you giving me things in spite of our friendship? You're treating me like a stranger. Aren't you slapping my face? Don't act like this next time. Nameless Nia said to Yi Wanwan as he put away the 5 bills in his pocket. Could you freaking be any more shameless? Nameless Nia didn't wait for Yi Wanwan to respond and stomped on the gas, turning the car in the direction of the Nia residence. Around noon, they finally arrived in the Nia district. The Nia residence was located in the center of the Nia district, and their estate could match the Ji residence in its luxuriousness. They probably also owned a gold mine. If Yi Wanwan didn't know any better, she absolutely wouldn't believe Nameless Nia was the eldest young master of the Nia family. Eldest young master? Many Nia family experts respectfully greeted Nameless Nia after they entered the Nia estate. Nameless Nia didn't pay them any heed, and led Yi Wanwan to the center of the Nia residence. Captain, Brick Moving Foreigner, Spray of Flowers, and the others walked out of the Nia residence's back garden. Haha, Boss Famous, you're here. Taoist devotee chuckled when he saw Yi Wanwan, but he looked anxious. Iceberg Man was expressionless with a coffin on his back, but he kept secretly peering at Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan became aggravated as soon as she saw Taoist devotee and his group. If it weren't for them, she wouldn't be poisoned by the love goo. Sister Famous, is your goo cured? Brick Moving Foreigner asked after examining her for a few moments. Nameless Nia and the others all ferociously glared at Brick Moving Foreigner after he said that. Why did he freaking have to mention exactly what they wanted to avoid? A brainless idiot. Thanks to you guys, it's not cured yet, Yi Wanwan answered. That's bad. Brick Moving Foreigner looked worried. You must find someone who also loves you back to cure love goo, Boss Famous. You have to act faster, or else you'll be bleeding everywhere and have ulcers all over your mouth. You won't even know how you died. Get lost, you idiot. Taoist devotee shoved Brick Moving Foreigner to the side. How would a decades-old single dog like you know anything about love goo? You don't even know about love, let alone love goo. With Boss Famous beauty, she's just like 7th fairy who fell to the mortal world. She can have as many cowherds one as she wants. The love goo is simply a type of romantic game. Don't you know anything? Yi Wanwan. Cowherd your father. Chapter 1509. Right, look at our Sister Famous face. Her face is full of protein. She's 7th fairy herself. Nameless Nia agreed enthusiastically. Spray of Flowers. Captain. That's not protein, it's collagen. Iceberg man. Yi Wanwan felt both mentally and physically exhausted as she watched this group of idiots in front of her. Where's baby Tang Tang? She needed some healing. Boss famous, don't worry. Two-legged toads are hard to find, but two-legged men are a piece of cake. If Boss famous doesn't have the experience, let me teach you. Spray of Flowers said to Yi Wanwan with a smile. No thanks. Damn ladyboy, scram to the side. You're disgusting. Brick-moving foreigner glanced at Spray of Flowers. Are you freaking discriminating against this madam's gender? Spray of Flowers cursed while pointing at brick-moving foreigner. Yi Wanwan was uninterested in paying attention to Spray of Flowers and his cohort any longer, so she turned to Nameless Nya and asked, Where's Tang Tang? Don't be in such a hurry. Tang Tang isn't back yet. Let me show you around first. My house is giant, so follow me and don't get lost. Nameless Nya said while beaming. Your flaunting is too freaking obvious. Yi Wanwan was forced to trail behind Nameless Nya and stroll around the supposedly giant estate. Meanwhile, Spray of Flowers, Taoist devotee, and the others seemed to have started fighting. Nameless Nya, the captain, merely left behind the sentence, fight to the death. A moment later, Yi Wanwan followed Nameless Nya into a room near the living room. Mom, where are you? Nameless Nya shouted as he entered the house. Did you lose your soul? Shortly after, an elegant and poised woman walked out of the living room. This woman was the madam of the Nya family, Nameless Nya's mother. Madam Nya looked like she was only in her 30s and seriously didn't match her real age, showing how well she took care of herself. Madam Nya first glanced at Nameless Nya before turning to Yi Wanwan. This single look caused Madam Nya to shudder. For some reason, this familiar-looking girl caused an inexplicable closeness to blossom inside of her. This is? Madam Nya asked. Mom, she's Yi Wanwan. She's the one who looked after Tang Tang in China, Nameless Nya explained. Madam Nya was startled briefly. No wonder she found this girl familiar-looking just now. It turned out she had seen this girl before in a video call. However, when she saw Yi Wanwan in person, her previous dislike dissipated into smoke. For some reason, she liked this girl the more she looked at her. Hello, Auntie. It's my first time visiting, so here are some minor things from me. Yi Wanwan quickly went up and gave the present prepared by 7-Star to Madam Nya. You're very kind. Madam Nya nodded at Yi Wanwan with a smile. Mom, take a look to see what it is. Nameless Nya urged. Madam Nya's brows furrowed. Who opens presents in front of a guest? Before Madam Nya could say anything, Nameless Nya snatched the present and opened it in front of them. When the sparkling jewels, jade and gold objects in the box were revealed, Yi Wanwan herself was taken back, let alone Nameless Nya. She came in a hurry, so she didn't look at the presents 7-Star prepared beforehand. Chapter 15:10 Seriously. Why did 7-Star freaking give jewels, jade and gold? Yi Wanwan's heart was bleeding. Nameless Nya silently closed the present, but his hands were glued to the box, unwilling to place it down. Wanwan, come and have a seat. Madam Nya pulled Yi Wanwan by her hand and led her inside the living room. Yi Wanwan was surprised by the affection Madam Nya was showing her. She originally thought she might get kicked out. So what was this? Could it be that she turned on cheating mode? After entering the living room, she looked up and saw that Madam Nya was assessing her with a pleased smile. Wanwan, your mother has a good daughter. Madam Nya complimented her with a light chuckle while examining her outstanding looks and temperament, all the while holding her hand. Thank you, Auntie, Yi Wanwan answered politely. About last time, Auntie might have had some misunderstanding, so don't take it to heart, Madam Nya said. Before Yi Wanwan could reply, Madam Nya said, Wanwan, weren't you in China? How did you get to the independent state? Mom, why are you asking her so many questions? It's not like she's your daughter. Aren't you too nosy? Nameless Nya asked with displeasure as he walked into the living room. Madam Nya glared at Nameless Nya. Don't be so rude. You aren't young anymore. I'm only 29. Nameless Nya protested in haste. Both Madam Nya and Yi Wanwan turned to look at Nameless Nya at the same time. Exasperation clear in their eyes. What? Nameless Nya asked. Madam Nya glanced at him again but didn't say anything and turned to look at Yi Wanwan again. The more Madame Nia praised this girl, the more she liked her, and the more she wanted to get close to her for some reason. Wan, Tang probably wasn't easy to look after back in China, right? Madame Nia suddenly asked her. Wan shook her head vehemently. No. Tang was very obedient. Oh, Madame Nia was surprised. Tang was obedient? What a rarity. Mom, I told you. Everything has its vanquisher. Little devil acts more well-behaved than a dog in front of Wan. Nameless Nia interjected. Both Wan and Madame Nia fiercely glared at Nameless Nia. If you don't know how to talk, don't speak. Madame Nia frowned while looking at him. Her son acted like he had a handicapped head. How did she birth someone like him? What did I do? Nameless Nia didn't understand. Look at your sisters, Worryless and Linglong, and then look at yourself. You can't be a good elder brother or a good uncle. You're so old already, but you don't even have a girlfriend yet. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? Madame Nia admonished coldly. Nameless Nia's lips twitched. He looked like he wanted to say something but ended up swallowing his words. Mom. A woman wearing luxurious clothes entered the living room. Worryless, you're here. Madame Nia smiled faintly and had the woman sit down next to her. Wan imperceptibly examined the woman next to Madame Nia. This woman was the second miss of the Nia family, Nameless Nia's younger sister, and also Tang's biological mother. Several days ago in his home, Han told her that Tang was his little disciple, and requested her to help him investigate whether this worryless Nia was truly Tang's mother. Chapter 15:11. However, Wan was troubled. How should she investigate this? The woman glanced at Wan before asking Madame Nia. Mom, this is? Worryless, she's Wan, your brother's good friend. She's the one your brother troubled to look after Tang back in China, Madame Nia replied. The woman was startled by Madame Nia's answer, and carefully examined Wan, a tinge of nearly indiscernible hatred surfacing in her eyes. So it's Miss Wan. The woman concealed her hatred and smiled at Wan. Isn't Miss Wan Chinese? How did you come to the independent state? What does it have to do with you? Is it any of your business? Nameless Nia glanced at the woman. Brother, Miss Wan is your friend, and I'm your sister, so isn't it normal for me to show some curiosity when a friend visits the Nia residence? The woman had a deep frown. Before Nameless Nia could respond, the woman turned to Madame Nia with an aggrieved expression. Mom, does brother hold some bias against me? Madame Nia glared fiercely at Nameless Nia. Then the woman turned to Wan and said, Miss Wan, you're my brother's friend, so you're naturally a friend of the Nia family as well. Thank you for taking care of Tang back in China, Miss Wan. That child is difficult to get along with and take care of. As Tang's mother, I didn't fulfill my duty. I'm truly apologetic that I had to trouble Miss Wan. Wan calmly replied. It's nothing. Tang and I got along rather well. Yes, the woman nodded. After Tang came home, he missed Miss Wan a lot. However, I'm Tang's mother, and blood is thicker than water. Tang now understands this principle, and knows what genuine blood relations are. Outsiders are outsiders, after all, and can't compare to his own mother. Now Tang and I get along very well. Wan's brows furrowed minutely when she heard this woman's words. Worryless Nia's words were a bit vague, but Wan could understand her meaning. If Miss Wan likes children, she can have a few of her own. No matter how dearly you love other people's children, it's pointless, isn't it? Worryless said meaningfully. Wan didn't respond. If this woman really was Tang's biological mother, Wan absolutely wouldn't disturb her in Tang. However, Han said last time that he suspected this woman's identity. It was possible she wasn't Tang's mother and was a fake. Wan also had her doubts though. How could a mother not recognize her own daughter? Couldn't Madame Nia tell if this worryless Nia was fake or not? She wouldn't be surprised if it was Nameless Nia, who couldn't recognize his own sister though. On the other hand, Wan had an inexplicable sense of trust in Han. This was related to Tang's life, and she went through fire and water with Nameless Nia, so she had to investigate this matter thoroughly. Of course, It would be a happy ending for everyone if she could prove this woman was worryless Nia herself. Miss Nia is right, however. I promised Tang Tang I'd come to the independent state to visit him before, Yuanwan said. Nameless Nia didn't allow the woman to reply before saying, "What? Do you have an objection to me bringing my friend home for a visit?" The woman glanced at Nameless Nia. "Visiting is fine, but you have to assess the circumstances and timing, eldest brother. If it was someone else, I would naturally welcome them enthusiastically, but Miss Wanwan has a unique relationship with Tang Tang. Moreover, Tang Tang doesn't want to see Miss Wanwan." Chapter 15:12 Madame Nia glanced at the woman and gently said, "Worryless, Miss Wanwan is a guest and also your brother's friend." "Mom, I'm not targeting Miss Wanwan, but the situation is unusual anyway. I don't think Tang Tang wants to see her either," the woman said to Madame Nia. "Enough, Worryless, don't be so inconsiderate." Madame Nia's brows were furrowed as she looked at Worryless Nia. Since Madame Nia said that, the woman had no choice but to nod and quietly say, "Mom, I didn't mean anything by it." Undisguised loathing surfaced in the woman's eyes. She remembered that Madame Nia disliked this woman a lot in the video call last time, so why did her attitude change today? Also, wasn't this woman from China? Why did she suddenly run to the independent state and show up at the Nia residence? Wanwan, Worryless isn't purposefully targeting you, so don't take it to heart. Madame Nia comforted Yi Wanwan with a smile. Yi Wanwan nodded with a smile of her own. "Auntie, no worries. I understand." Nameless Nia stood on the side and couldn't help but shake his head. Look at the gigantic difference between Worryless Nia and Boss Famous. Before Madame Nia could continue, Nia Linglong entered the living room with a young man and young woman behind her. "Greetings, Madame Nia." The two youths greeted at the same time while looking at Madame Nia. Madame Nia nodded and turned to Nia Linglong. "Linglong, these two are?" "Mom, they're students from Scarlet Flames Academy, so they're technically my junior brother and sister. They were passing by Nia District today and came to visit," Nia Linglong replied with a smile. Madame Nia nodded. Both Worryless Nia and Nia Linglong were legendary students at Scarlet Flames Academy back then, so it was normal for students to visit. "You must be senior sister Worryless Nia," the young woman standing behind Nia Linglong said with a smile as she looked at Worryless Nia. Worryless Nia nodded and replied, "I am. Senior sister Worryless is our Scarlet Flames Academy's legend. You once created many records at the Academy. It's truly an immense honor to be able to meet senior sister Worryless today." Worryless Nia immediately shook her head. "It's nothing. All the records I created were broken by Linglong, so if we have to name Scarlet Flames Academy's legend, it's Linglong who deserves the title. I still have much to learn compared to Linglong." The Scarlet Flame students naturally knew about Nia Linglong breaking Worryless Nia's records. Just as Worryless Nia said, there was indeed a great difference between her and Nia Linglong. "Wow, I never knew. When did you become so low profile and humble?" Nameless Nia glanced at Worryless Nia. Although Nameless Nia could count the number of times Worryless Nia returned to the Nia residence with one hand, he had never forgotten her personality. She would insult the sky, insult the earth, and insult the air. She only allowed herself to be stronger than other people, and other people couldn't be stronger than her. Back then, when Worryless Nia returned to the Nia residence and ran into Nameless Nia, she insisted on comparing notes with him. A mere 3 moves and Worryless Nia was defeated by Nameless Nia. However, Worryless Nia wouldn't accept the outcome and kept challenging him, but never lasted more than 3 moves. In the end, while Nameless Nia was sleeping, Worryless Nia snuck into his bedroom and tied him up with a rope. She threatened him by saying she wouldn't release him unless he admitted defeat. Chapter 15:13 Nameless Nia had no choice but to surrender and admit defeat to regain his freedom. Now, someone with Worryless Nia's personality would actually admit she was weaker than Nia Linglong? What a serious change in personality. Worryless Nia glanced at Nameless Nia before indifferently saying, "Eldest brother, we're a family after all. Younger sister Linglong is stronger than me, so she's stronger than me. Why must I try to compete with her? Anyway, it's the truth that she's stronger than me, and I still have much to learn before I can compare to her." Even if I don't admit it, it's still the truth. Nameless Nye was too lazy to respond to her. It had nothing to do with him regarding which of the two was stronger. Nye Linglong had a bright smile on her face, until she suddenly saw Yi Wanwan from the corners of her eyes. She started. Why was this woman at the Nye residence? Why are you here? Nye Linglong asked with a frown while staring at Yi Wanwan. Her younger sister, Miss Wanwan Mrs. Tang Tang, so she specifically came to the independent state from China in order to see Tang Tang. Worryless Nye answered with a snort. Nye Linglong was startled. She saw this woman at the Ji residence last time, but wasn't her name by phone? And didn't she have a good relationship with Ji Xiran? Why was her name Wanwan now? Nye Linglong suddenly realized something, and emotions raged through her eyes. Wanwan. China. Once took care of Tang Tang. Nye Linglong stared at Yi Wanwan, her fists clenched and a cold glint flickering through her eyes. If that was true, then this woman in front of her was most likely the true worryless Nye. Back then, Nye Linglong learned from Spray of Flowers that Feng Shuani once told them this woman was the true worryless Nye. After that, Nye Linglong hired quite a few mercenaries from the independent state to eliminate her. Unfortunately, they didn't succeed. Who would have expected this damn woman would actually come to the independent state? No wonder. No wonder Ji Xiran treated this stupid woman like that. Ji Xiran probably knew her true identity. Otherwise, why would he be so intimate with her? Even if Ji Xiran didn't know, he had to have been attracted by her inherent nature. However, the only fortunate thing was that worryless Nye seemed to have lost her memories. This was more than enough for Nye Linglong. Her identity would be forever replaced by someone else. Heh, so it's Miss Wanwan. We meet again. Nye Linglong greeted Yi Wanwan with a light chuckle. Yi Wanwan nodded calmly. She could feel her head swimming. She had completely forgotten about Nye Linglong. Several days ago, she went to the Ji residence with Bai Feng's identity and coincidentally ran into Nye Linglong. Now, she came to the Nye residence with Yi Wanwan's identity and ran into Nye Linglong again. If Nye Linglong exposed her identity like this, the Fearless Alliance would probably. She had to start making plans now. Oh right, if Miss Wanwan likes children so much, why don't you have one yourself? Why are you so fixated on my sister's child? Isn't that a little improper, Miss Wanwan? Nye Linglong asked Yi Wanwan with a smile on her lips. The two young mercenaries next to Nye Linglong also examined Yi Wanwan when they heard that. Before Yi Wanwan could reply, a young man entered the house. The man swiftly walked toward Nye Linglong and quietly spoke next to her ear. Yi Wanwan was startled when she saw this young man, surprise surfacing in her eyes. Chapter 15-14. This man looked very familiar, as though she'd seen him before. Yi Wanwan abruptly recalled how she was assassinated for no reason back in China, and this man was amongst the group that hunted her. Turbulent emotions stormed through her mind. This man looked like he was under Nye Linglong. Could it be that the mastermind behind my assassination was Nye Linglong? However, I wasn't connected with Nye Linglong in any way back then and didn't know her, so why did she want to assassinate me? What was her objective? Many details surfaced in Yi Wanwan's mind in an instant. When nameless Nye went to China back then, he said he wanted to find his younger sister, worryless Nye. He even once said I resembled his sister. Later, Tang Tang came to China to search for his mother, and we met. After worryless Nye was found in the independent state, nameless Nye suspected this worryless was a fake. Even piece of shit, Yishui Han, asked me to help him investigate. Coincidentally, before I left China, Nye Linglong sent people to assassinate me. Could it be shock and disbelief enveloped Yi Wanwan? Hypothetically speaking, what if she was worryless Nye? Yi Wanwan felt like something was off about it still. If she really was worryless Nye, then Nye Linglong was her younger sister. So why did her sister want to kill her? Moreover, nameless Nye would be her brother and Madame Nye would be her mother. Could it be that her real brother and mother couldn't recognize her at all? Wasn't this too unbelievable? No matter what, Nye Linglong and the man who tried to kill her had an undeniable connection. Yi Wanwan glanced at Nye Linglong and smiled indifferently. You have a good relationship with your elder sister indeed. Brother Nameless told me that you were adopted by worryless Nye when you were young. If it weren't for worryless Nia, you would have died on the outside already. There's no way you would have become a daughter of the Nia family and sat in a bed of luxury and honor. Nor would you have been able to go to some Scarlet Flames Academy and become a legendary student. When Nia Linglong heard Yi Wanwan's words, her face darkened immediately, especially when Yi Wanwan said adopted, but she quickly concealed it. Hey, yes. It appears you do have a good relationship with my eldest brother. He even told you about this. That's right, I was adopted by elder sister. If it weren't for elder sister, I would be dead already. Nia Linglong smiled. I'm very grateful toward eldest sister Worryless. Then as her younger sister, why did you purposefully break Worryless Nia's records at Scarlet Flames Academy? Yi Wanwan intentionally asked with a curious expression. Nia Linglong narrowed her eyes, surveying Yi Wanwan. Before Nia Linglong could reply, the female mercenary student behind Nia Linglong snorted and looked at Yi Wanwan. What does that have to do with you? How could an insolent nobody like you comment about our Scarlet Flames Academy's business? The male student also coldly butted in. You should get your roll straight in your head before visiting someone's house. Fuck you. Nameless Nia swung his hand and ruthlessly slapped the top of the male student's head. A second later, the male student flew several meters back and landed harshly on the floor with a bang. Chapter 15:15 Nameless Nia's sudden outburst caught everyone off guard. Even Yi Wanwan froze in her spot. Who do you two little bastards think you are? Is my sworn brother someone you can ridicule? Nameless Nia shouted indignantly while pointing at the two mercenary students. Nameless Nia stared at them. I'll give you 3 seconds. When I count to 1, I'll beat you to death if you're still in front of me. Eldest brother, what are you doing? Nia Linglong walked forward and looked at Nameless Nia. What bullshit junior brothers and junior sisters do you have? How dare they speak to my friend like this? Nameless Nia said. Eldest brother, they just have straightforward personalities and speak the truth without thinking. How could you have attacked them? Nia Linglong questioned. Eldest brother, you truly went too far. Worryless Nia also added an agreement by the side. If word of this gets out, what would happen to the Nia family's reputation? What? You both want to revolt? Nameless Nia glanced at Worryless Nia and Nia Linglong. I'm the oldest brother in this family. Whatever I say goes. If you don't respect the friends I bring back, that's slapping my face. Don't blame me for skinning you too. Nameless Nia coldly declared. Yi Wanwan dazedly stared at Nameless Nia. His sense of protection is freaking brimming to the max. Why didn't I find out about this before? Should I treat him better in the future? Nameless Nia, you're acting rudely. Madam Nia suddenly reproached. Mom, my friend was just randomly chatting about domestic trivia. How is that? Nameless Nia asked her. I'm calling you insolent, not Wanwan. Madam Nia frowned. Humph. I've been insolent since I was born. Nameless Nia snorted, but he didn't say anything else. We'll leave now. The two mercenary students said to Nia Linglong and Madam Nia. Before leaving, they fiercely glared at Yi Wanwan and studied her face before leaving the Nia residence without looking back. Miss Wanwan, we have business at home today, so please head back now. We won't be seeing you out. Worryless Nia said coldly while staring at Yi Wanwan. Before Yi Wanwan could reply, Madam Nia countered. Since you're here already, you should stay for lunch. Tang Tang should be back soon. Mom! Nia Linglong looked at Madam Nia with incomprehension. This is your brother's friend. Don't be so rude. Madam Nia's brows were closely furrowed together. Even Madam Nia herself didn't understand why her affections for Yi Wanwan grew the more she looked at her, or why she wanted Yi Wanwan to stay longer. Thank you, Auntie. Yi Wanwan smiled sweetly at Madam Nia. A smile automatically spread across Madam Nia's face when she saw Yi Wanwan's beam. All right. Wanwan, Nameless said you're sworn brothers with him just now? Madam Nia asked all of a sudden. Yi Wanwan was startled. When did she become sworn brothers with Nameless Nia? It was all made up by Nameless Nia. However, since Madam Nia asked, Yi Wanwan couldn't make Nameless Nia lose face, so she nodded and replied. Yes. Brother Nameless and I are sworn brothers. Ah. Madame Nia contemplated for a moment before suggesting. Since it's like that, how about I adopt you as my foster daughter, Wan Wan? Disbelief filled the faces of Nia Linglong and worryless Nia when they heard that. The madam of the Nia family wanted to adopt this woman as a foster daughter. What kind of joke was this? Yi Wanwan herself was also astonished. They just met, but Madame Nia wanted to take her in as a foster daughter. Chapter 15-16. Yi Wanwan was stuck in a daze. Madame Nia's decision to adopt her as a foster daughter came too suddenly. She was completely caught off guard. Before Yi Wanwan could say anything, worryless Nia frowned at Madame Nia. Mom, you're the madam of the Nia family. It's no small matter for you to adopt a foster daughter. Moreover, this is your first time meeting Miss Wanwan. You don't know her well enough. How could you adopt her so easily? Mom, Sister Worryless is right. We should wait until Dad is back and discuss this matter before deciding. Nia Linglong hastily interjected as well. What nonsense are you two saying? Nameless Nia glanced at his two sisters before turning to his mother and grinning. Mom, I think Wanwan is rather nice. With our relationship, it'd be no problem at all for you to adopt her as your foster daughter. But Dad isn't back yet. Isn't this too impulsive? Nia Linglong looked at worryless Nia as she spoke. Nameless Nia pursed his lips. Dad hasn't come back for a long time. There's an 80% chance he's been seduced by some vixen on the outside. Insolence. A mouthful of nonsense. Madame Nia fiercely glared at Nameless Nia. Yi Wanwan, talking about his father like this. Is Nameless Nia dim-witted? Madame Nia turned to Yi Wanwan and smiled. Wanwan, what do you think? Auntie. Yi Wanwan was about to speak when she was interrupted by Madame Nia. It is a bit sudden, so how about you consider it for a few days first, Wanwan? All right. Yi Wanwan nodded. As Nia Linglong was about to say something, the Nia family's steward entered the living room and respectfully said to Madame Nia, Madam, the Shen family's eldest young master is visiting. The Shen family's eldest young master? Madame Nia looked pensive. As one of the 4 great clans of the independent state, the Shen family was loaded with money. There wasn't a single group in the independent state that could compare to them. The independent state revered martial arts, so all the patrician families and factions were immersed in martial arts. However, the Shen family was an exception. They only prioritized business. The entire independent state, from restaurants to real estate and construction, was almost completely monopolized by the Shen family. And the eldest young master of the Shen family was the heir. God of wealth is here. Nameless Nia became elated. Hurry and invite him inside. The steward nodded and quickly left. A moment later, a young man wearing cyan form-fitting clothes sauntered into the Nia residence's living room. Haha, old pal Shen, long time no see. Nameless Nia hastily walked forward to greet eldest young master Shen as soon as he entered. Brother Nia, here a greeting gift. Eldest young master Shen took out a bar of gold and handed it to Nameless Nia. Old pal Shen. Nameless Nia looked displeased. What are you doing? What are we? We're sworn brothers. Why are you giving me a gold bar for nothing? Aren't you slapping my face? Don't do this next time. As Nameless Nia finished speaking, he hastily put away the gold bar. Brother Nia, I understand. I'll give you a gold brick next time. Eldest young master Shen quickly replied. Yi Wanwan. Where did this oddball come from? Come, you've worked hard, steward. Eldest young master Shen took out a gold bar and handed it to the elderly steward. Thank you, eldest young master Shen. The elderly man nodded at the young man in thanks. The elderly steward was already used to eldest young master Shen giving him gold bars or cash every time he visited. Chapter 15-17. 15-17. Come, worryless Linglong. Long time no see. Take your greeting gifts. Eldest young master Shen walked to them. Thanks, but we're fine, Nia Linglong said. Pretentious. Eldest young master Shen glanced at them before strolling toward Madame Nia. Auntie Nia, here's your greeting gift. Madame Nia was a bit embarrassed as she looked at the gold bar he handed to her, but accepted it in the end. Here, a greeting gift. Take it. Eldest young Master Shen walked to Yi Wanwan and lavishly pulled out a gold bar for her. Yi Wanwan. Where did this foolish son of the landlord come from? I don't know him at all. But he's going to give me a gold bar without even asking? Thank you. Yi Wanwan smiled at eldest young Master Shen and accepted the gold bar unabashedly. Only a fool would decline it. Oh right, who's this beauty? I've never seen her before. Eldest young master appraised Yi Wanwan up and down. Why did you give me a gold bar if you've never freaking seen me before? Old pal Shen, she's my sworn brother. Nameless Nye replied instantly. Eldest young Master Shen nodded and turned to Yi Wanwan. Beautiful miss, do you have a boyfriend? Are you married? Old pal Shen, why did you come here today? Nameless Nye asked curiously before Yi Wanwan could reply. Ah, good question. Eldest young Master Shen beamed. I came to invite you to my breakup banquet. You all have to come. Eldest young Master Shen quickly took out invitation cards and handed them to Nameless Nye and the others. Old pal Shen, don't worry. Whoever doesn't go will be a grandson. Nameless Nye was brimming with excitement. Soon, eldest young Master Shen distributed the invitations to Nye Linglong and worryless Nye as well. Beautiful miss, you should come too. Eldest young Master Shen walked to Yi Wanwan. He took out another invitation and handed it to her. Breakup banquet? What the heck is that? Yi Wanwan planned to reject the invitation when Nameless Nye leaned into Yi Wanwan's ear and quietly told her, Sister Famous, this is a moneybags banquet. If you go, they'll give gold bricks and such. I'll definitely come. Yi Wanwan accepted the invitation politely. All right, we have a deal then. Eldest young Master Shen nodded and turned to Madame Nye with a smile. Auntie Nye, I'll take my leave now. After receiving a response from Madame Nye, he turned and left. As Yi Wanwan watched the landlord's foolish son leave, she couldn't help but marvel inwardly. Ah, he's a serious spendthrift. Regardless of how rich the Shen family was, could they endure their eldest young master's squandering? He would give out gold bars as greeting gifts and gold bricks for attending his banquet. Wasn't the richest family in the independent state, the Shen family, too extravagant? I've gotten 2 gold bricks this year already. Nameless Nye quietly exclaimed to Yi Wanwan. I've attended his breakup banquet twice this year. This is the 3rd time. Yi Wanwan. Before Yi Wanwan could respond, an immensely familiar voice was heard outside the living room. Soon Tang Tang, wearing a little black suit with a bow tie, slowly entered the living room with an aloof expression. Grandma, I'm back. Tang Tang greeted as he looked at Madame Nye sitting in the chief seat. Little thing, where did you run off to play? Nameless Nye asked the boy. Tang Tang expressionlessly glanced at Nameless Nye. Uncle, please be mindful of your wording. Chapter 15:18 Tang Tang. Yi Wanwan called out softly while looking at the nearby Tang Tang. Tang Tang's expression became obviously startled when he heard Yi Wanwan's voice and reflexively turned to look at her. Disbelief emerged in Tang Tang's detached gaze, which was quickly replaced by excitement and joy. Mommy. Tang Tang immediately walked toward Yi Wanwan and carefully examined her, afraid he was imagining things. Worryless Nye's expression darkened when she heard how Tang Tang addressed her, and a cold glint flickered through Nye Linglong's eyes. Blood was truly thicker than water. The real worryless Nye had clearly lost her memories, and Tang Tang also didn't know she was his mother, but he still acted so familiarly with her, and so aloof toward the fake worryless Nye who was pretending to be his mother. Tang Tang, what are you saying? Who are you calling mommy? Worryless Nye stared at Tang Tang with a deep frown. Tang Tang glanced at worryless Nye, but quickly looked away with no desire to pay attention to her. All his attention was focused on Yi Wanwan. Mommy, how come you're here in the independent state? Weren't you in China, mommy? Tang Tang couldn't understand why Yi Wanwan was standing right in front of him. China was too remote from the independent state. Normal people weren't familiar with the independent state, and many people had never even heard of it. Moreover, people who wanted to enter the independent state needed a special permit. I've been here a while. I've wanted to visit Tang Tang for a long time, but it hasn't been convenient. Yi Wanwan replied with a smile. Tang Tang shook his head and said, Mommy, you can treat the Nia residence like your own home and visit me at any time. He turned to nameless Nia and asked, What do you say, uncle? Oh, I shouldn't talk. I'm afraid my wording will be problematic, nameless Nia answered. Tang Tang became expressionless. Are you sure, uncle? If grandma learns. Ha ha ha. Nameless Nia laughed before Tang Tang could finish speaking. Little darling, look at what you're saying. Wan looked after you for so long in China, so of course she should treat the Nia residence like her own home now that she's in the independent state. Is this even a question? You're too inconsiderate, child. You Wan. Tang Tang, don't be so inconsiderate. She's not your mom. You can't call people your mom carelessly, Nia Linglong said to Tang Tang. I don't mind having another mommy, Tang Tang said. You don't mind, but your mom minds, Nia Linglong retorted. Linglong, enough. This is all my fault. It's my fault that I was forced to leave home due to an accident and abandon Tang Tang. Worryless Nia looked woeful, like she had suffered some immense grievance. Sister Worryless, don't say that. You had your reasons. Anyway, aren't you back now? Nia Linglong comforted her. Nia Linglong turned to Tang Tang. Look at how sad you made your mom, Tang Tang. Before Nia Linglong could say anything more, Madame Nia interrupted with a slight frown. All right, that's enough. Mom, Nia Linglong turned to Madame Nia. It's human nature that he developed affection after Wan looked after Tang Tang for so long in China. What? Do you want Tang Tang to be cold-blooded instead? Madame Nia asked worryless Nia and Nia Linglong. Chapter 15:19 Nia Linglong and worryless Nia secretly looked at each other. It appeared Madame Nia was a bit biased now. However, that was fine. There was no way this woman could stay in the Nia residence forever. And they had millions of ways to make Madame Nia and Tang Tang dislike this woman. Soon, Madame Nia told everyone to start eating, and lunch commenced. At the table, Tang Tang kept introducing the Nia family's characteristic dishes to Yi Wan. He didn't eat much himself but picked up nearly all the delicious dishes and placed them into Yi Wan's bowl. Worryless Nia and Nia Linglong's face were so dark that ink could start dripping at any second, but they couldn't comment on it too much right now. After lunch, Tang Tang stuck to Yi Wan's side and grasped her hand, unwilling to let her go for a single second in fear of Yi Wan escaping. Mommy, you should stay here, Tang Tang suggested while looking up at her. Nia Linglong didn't allow Yi Wan to respond before interjecting. Tang Tang, don't cause trouble. Your auntie has her own business to attend to. Yi Wan smiled softly and said, I don't have much to do these next few days. If Auntie Nia doesn't object, I can stay here to keep Tang Tang company. Tang Tang immediately turned around and looked at Madame Nia pitifully. Grandma. Of course you can, Madame Nia replied with a smile. There aren't any spare rooms in the house, Nia Linglong said with a furrow of her brows. That's fine. Mommy can sleep with me. Both my room and bed are big, Tang Tang retorted coldly. Tang Tang looked at Yi Wan. How about you sleep with me, Mommy? Sure. Yi Wan nodded. It was only after Yi Wan agreed that a smile spread across Tang Tang's face. Wan, don't you have something to do this afternoon? Let's go. I'll drive you. Nameless Nia wiped the grease from his mouth and stood up. Yi Wan was startled. I have something to do? Nameless Nia walked to Yi Wan and quietly said, Have you forgotten about the Fearless Alliance? Yi Wan finally remembered that her current identity was the president of the Fearless Alliance. Even if she wanted to stay at the Nia residence, she should at least finish dealing with the matters at hand first. Mommy, when will you be back? Tang Tang asked with a face full of longing. Why are you so broken-hearted? Can't you just come with us? Nameless Nia looked at Tang Tang. Tang Tang's eyes brightened, and he hastily stood up, clutching Yi Wan's hand. Nonsense. Worryless Nia suddenly stood up. Eldest brother. How could you allow Tang Tang to go out with a strange woman? Before Nameless Nia could answer, Tang Tang turned around and coldly glanced at Worryless Nia. Please mind your words. She's my mommy from China, not a strange woman. Tang Tang, mommy's just worried about you, protested Worryless Nia. Then your worries are rather unnecessary, Tang Tang replied. Enough. Tang Tang is going to be with me. What are you afraid of? Nameless Nia was very displeased. Tang Tang, you have to stay with Wan Wan and your uncle and can't run off. Do you understand? Madame Nia said after a moment. Yes. Tang Tang nodded vehemently. I understand, Grandma. Since Madame Nia voiced her decision, Nia Linglong and worryless Nia stopped objecting. Soon, Nameless Nia led Yi Wanwan and Tang Tang out of the Nia residence. After walking through the main entrance, Nameless Nia turned to Yi Wanwan and said, Boss Famous, my acting is good, right? I still have something to do, so you should take Tang Tang with you and have fun. Also, I don't have any money on me, can you? Yi Wanwan. Chapter 1520. 1520. Yi Wanwan glanced at Nameless Nia. She remembered that the filthy rich moneybags of the Shen family gave him a bar of gold. Don't you have a gold bar? Yi Wanwan asked. Nameless Nia giggled. Sister Famous, what are you saying? A gold bar is a gold bar and money is money. They're clearly two entirely different things. Ah, Yi Wanwan nodded and said, then give your gold bar to me, and I'll give you money. Sister Famous. Nameless Nia looked at her, wanting to say something but held back. A while later, Nameless Nia's gaze landed on Tang Tang, and he said with a giant grin, My little darling, my dear nephew. No, Tang Tang answered indifferently. Tang Tang, I'm your uncle. Nameless Nia exclaimed with a frown. No, Tang Tang repeated. Yi Wanwan looked at Nameless Nia in exasperation. Didn't this fool swear a blood oath that his whole family would die if he used even a cent from the Nia family again? However, technically speaking, Tong Tong's surname wasn't Nia. Unfortunately, they didn't know who Tong Tong's father was. In the end, Yi Wanwan had no choice but to take out a few $100 bills and hand them to Nameless Nia. Sister Famous, I knew it. With our relationship, there's no way you wouldn't give me some if I asked. Nameless Nia said with a satisfied smile as he accepted the money. Then he drove away without looking back. Mommy, where are we going? Tang Tang asked her quietly. Mommy still has some business to deal with. You just need to follow Mommy. But Tang Tang can't speak carelessly, Yi Wanwan replied. What do you mean, Mommy? Tang Tang looked confused, no idea what Yi Wanwan meant by speaking carelessly. Yi Wanwan pondered for a moment before inquiring. Does Tang Tang know the Fearless Alliance? Tang Tang nodded lightly. I know them. They aren't anything good. Yi Wanwan. Tang Tang, Mommy is currently the president of the Fearless Alliance. Yi Wanwan explained helplessly. Mommy is Bro Flat Top? Tang Tang looked surprised. Yes. Mommy is gonna bring Tang Tang to the Fearless Alliance, but Tang Tang can't mention Mommy's past in China, alright? Yi Wanwan asked with a smile. Okay. Tang Tang nodded docilely without a trace of his previous little devil personality. Yi Wanwan called a taxi and entered with Tang Tang before directing the driver to head to the Fearless Alliance's headquarters. In the afternoon, Yi Wanwan led Tang Tang into the headquarters of the Fearless Alliance. Greetings, President. Many Fearless Alliance members immediately walked forward to receive Yi Wanwan when they saw her and reverently greeted her. Yi Wanwan nodded in response and quickly walked into the elevator with Tang Tang in tow. Who's the child with President Fearless? A Fearless Alliance member asked with a face full of curiosity. Could it be he's our president's illegitimate son? Look, he shares some similarities with our president. Don't run your mouth off. You'll be dead if the president heard you. Right. Even if he's the president's illegitimate son, we can't speak carelessly. As soon as Yi Wanwan entered the office, Virus and Great White stood up and walked toward her. Yi Wanwan started when she saw them. She'd nearly forgotten the ancestor, Virus, was inside the office. Yi Wanwan wasn't worried about Great White since Tang Tang had a good relationship with Great White, but Virus. Chapter 1521. However, when Yi Wanwan looked at Tang Tang, he didn't exhibit any fear. He even looked joyfully surprised at the sight of Great White. Great White! Tang Tang extended his arms toward Great White. Great White slowly sauntered to Tong Tong's side and sat down. Upon seeing this, Virus also walked to Tong Tong's side and sniffed him. Before Yi Wanwan could say something, the office's doors were pushed open and Big Dipper and Seven Star entered. Sis Feng, you're back? Big Dipper exclaimed as he entered the office, and quickly caught sight of Tang Tang standing next to Yuan Wan. Damn. Sis Feng, who's this child? Big Dipper was startled. Mommy, he's very noisy, Tang Tang said to Yuan Wan. When Tang Tang said mommy, even 7 Star was astonished, let alone Big Dipper. And mommy? Big Dipper froze on the spot. Did he discover some kind of gigantic shocking secret? There's Sis Feng. Bro Flat Top, the president of the Fearless Alliance, actually freaking had a son that was this old. 7 Star, did you hear that? That child called Sis Feng mommy just now. Wait, did I imagine it? Could it be that I miss my mom too much since I haven't seen her for a few days? Big Dipper turned to 7 Star. 7 Star glanced at him. You probably aren't that filial. Big Dipper. You didn't imagine it, 7 Star added. Damn, Sis Feng. You actually have a son this old. Big Dipper glanced at Tang Tang before looking at Yuan Wan and examining her. You do look a bit similar. Sis Feng, who did you have a son with? Before Yuan Wan could respond, Big Dipper's expression shifted. Could it have been Emperor Ji? I think it's more likely to be Lord Azura. 7 Star was pensive. What? Sis Feng and Lord Azura secretly had a son together. Big Dipper cried out. No wonder. No wonder Sis Feng and Lord Azura. Big Dipper clucked his tongue. Yuan Wan glanced at Big Dipper and 7 Star, disinclined to explain anything to them. Haha. Big Dipper walked toward Tang Tang and knelt down in front of the child. He stared at Tang Tang and grinned. This little urchin has a rather exquisite face. Come give Big Brother a hug. Tang Tang merely glanced at Big Dipper before turning to Yuan Wan. Mommy, you've worked hard. Yuan Wan was startled and reflexively asked, what did I work hard on? Mommy has to work with dimwits like this every day, Tang Tang answered expressionlessly. Yuan Wan, Big Dipper, 7 Star. Sis Feng, isn't your son too arrogant? Why did he call 7 Star a dimwit for no reason? Big Dipper questioned indignantly. 7 Star glanced at Big Dipper. He's talking about you. My son has always been this arrogant. Yuan Wan stared at Big Dipper. Before Big Dipper could protest, a knock rang on the door. Enter. Yuan Wan called out. Third Elder Li Si opened the door and strode into the office. President. Li Si respectfully greeted Yuan Wan. What is it, Third Elder? Asked Yuan Wan. Well, the eldest young master of the Shen family wants to see the president. Third Elder answered honestly. Yuan Wan was surprised. Eldest young master Shen wanted to see the president of the Fearless Alliance? That was rather strange. Yuan Wan could understand why that filthy rich moneybags went to the Nia residence, but the Fearless Alliance once stole money from the Shen family. Logically speaking, the Fearless Alliance and the Shen family should have a hostile relationship. So why did the filthy rich young master Shen want to see her? Chapter 1522, 1522 Sis Feng. The visitors definitely aren't friendly. The Shen family must be here to seek retribution. Big Dipper quickly said. How many people from the Shen family are here? Yuan Wan asked Third Elder. Not many, just 7 or 8, Third Elder answered. 7 or 8 people. Then they probably weren't here for retribution. If they were, they would have simply charged inside without a word. Moreover, the filthy rich Shen family gave her a bar of gold as a greeting gift. So they probably wouldn't insist on splitting hairs about the past, right? Alright, got it. Yuan Wan nodded. Bring eldest young master Shen into my office in 5 minutes. Understood. Li Si nodded and retreated. Ever since Yuan Wan got drunk last time, Li Si had thrown away all his suspicions about Yuan Wan and wholeheartedly considered Yuan Wan the president of the Fearless Alliance, and believed in her unconditionally. After Li Si left, Yuan Wan switched into a black outfit, wore a French-style aristocratic hat, and covered the lower half of her face with a black veil. Eldest young master Shen saw her at the Nia residence earlier, so she couldn't allow him to recognize her. She also had Tang Tang stay hidden on the side. 5 minutes later, eldest young master led 7 or 8 men into Yuan Wan's office. So you're President Fearless. Eldest young master Shen hid behind his entourage of experts, and only revealed a pair of eyes as he appraised Yuanwan. May I ask why eldest young Master Shen is visiting me today? Yuanwan sounded apathetic. Humph. President Fearless, back then, you stole from our Shen family's wealth, so you must be feeling guilty and immensely scared to see me today, right? Eldest young Master Shen shouted loudly as he hid behind his guards. Who's afraid of whom? All those experts you brought here must be responsible for protecting you, right? You're hiding behind other people but calling me scared? Did eldest young Master Shen come here today simply to ask me if I'm scared? Yuanwan asked. Humph. President Bai, in truth, you don't need to be too scared. Our Shen family has nothing but money. No one in the Shen family actually remembers that you stole money from the Shen family. Eldest young Master Shen said. Big Dipper interjected. If no one remembers, why did you mention that we stole money from you as soon as you entered? I wager you remember better than anyone. Eldest young Master Shen, what do you want? Why don't you speak frankly instead of beating around the bush? Yuanwan was rather exasperated. Why did the landlord's foolish son come here? Eldest young Master Shen waved his hand and gestured for the accompanying experts to move aside. Heh, our Shen family places the greatest importance on manners. I'm visiting the Fearless Alliance today, and it's my first time meeting everyone today, so I can't be lacking in greeting gifts. Eldest young Master Shen took out a bar of gold immediately and handed it to 7 Star. Here, take it. Don't be polite. 7 Star. 7 Star turned to Yuanwan and only accepted it after seeing Yuanwan nod. Thank you, young Master Shen. Come, you have one too. Eldest young Master Shen stuffed a gold bar into Big Dipper's hand. Brother Shen. Big Dipper looked at him. Brother Shen, why are you so polite? From now on we're brothers. You're the elder brother, and I'm the younger brother. If you need anything, just tell me, Brother Shen. What's your phone number, Brother Shen? Here's my number. Yuanwan facepalmed as she watched Big Dipper. What a disgrace. Come, President Bai. Here's yours. Eldest young Master Shen promptly walked forward and handed a gold bar to Yuanwan. Chapter 1523. Yuanwan accepted the gold bar with a beam. Young Master Shen, you're truly too polite. Oh right, my 2 good friends are here too. Eldest young Master Shen was startled. Where are they? Tell them to come out. Great White Little Black. Yuanwan immediately called toward a corner of the office. Virus and Great White both yawned and leisurely sauntered toward them. Eldest young Master Shen. Sis Feng? You're much. Why do Great White and Virus need a greeting gift? Big Dipper spun around to look at eldest young Master Shen. Brother Shen. My mom was hit by a car earlier and is currently in the hospital. How about you wait a moment, and I'll make a trip to the hospital and bring my mom here. Get lost. Yuanwan yelled at Big Dipper. Big Dipper looked embarrassed and didn't say anything else. Lisi. Yuanwan called. Third Elder pushed open the door. What are your instructions, President? Eldest young Master Shen wants to give you a greeting gift, Yuanwan said. Huh. Lisi was taken back. He hadn't had any interactions with eldest young Master Shen, so what did the President mean by a greeting gift? Before Lisi could think further, a gold bar appeared in front of him. Lisi reflexively accepted the gold bar and weighed it in his hand. Haha, eldest young Master Shen, you're too polite. Coming here to visit was fine, but why did you bring presents? Eldest young Master Shen, there are many brothers inside the Fearless Alliance still. Lisi said to eldest young Master Shen with a bright smile. Third Elder, how could you be like this? My brother Shen might be rich, but he shouldn't be used like this. Big Dipper smiled at the dumbfounded eldest young Master Shen and said, Brother Shen, my mom is still at the hospital. Enough. Yuanwan impatiently waved her hand. If news of this got out, where would the Fearless Alliance put their face? Did the Fearless Alliance lack money? Although the Fearless Alliance's finances were a bit tight lately, they had to maintain their image. Young Master Shen, don't worry. We were just joking with you. Our Fearless Alliance isn't greedy for money. Yuanwan comforted with a smile. Eldest young Master Shen was enraged instantly. What do you mean, President Bai? Does our Shen family lack money? Do I lack money? The Shen family has nothing except for money. You're looking down on me. Fine then. Yi Wanwan was exasperated and turned to Li Si. Go and summon all of the brothers and sisters in the Fearless Alliance here. Eldest young Master Shen has greeting gifts for them. Before Li Si could answer, eldest young Master Shen laughed and interrupted. No, I didn't bring so many bars of gold this time. Next time. Haha, the next time. Alright. Did young Master Shen come here today just to give us greeting gifts? Yi Wanwan asked. President Bai, the Shen family is holding a banquet in 3 days. At that time, all the famous big shots of the independent state will come, so please attend as well, President Bai. Eldest young Master Shen proceeded to take out several invitations and handed them to Yi Wanwan and the others. Breakup banquet. Yi Wanwan's lips twitched. Did eldest young Master Shen have to make it so that everyone in the independent state knew about a mere breakup? Did he find it honorable? As long as you attend the Shen family's banquet, you'll receive luxurious presents, eldest young Master Shen said jubilantly. Big Dipper's eyes brightened, and he grabbed eldest young Master Shen's hand. Brother Shen, give me 2 invitations. I also want to attend. Eldest young Master Shen stared at Big Dipper with scrutiny. He only wanted to invite famous big shots in the independent state though. Chapter 15:24 Unable to withstand Big Dipper's pitiful begging, eldest young Master Shen ended up helplessly handing him 2 invitations for the breakup banquet. Brother Shen, take care. Call me if you need me. Big Dipper stood at the door and called out to eldest young Master Shen's back. Yi Wanwan was rendered speechless by Big Dipper's behavior. Big Dipper was probably nameless Nya's biological long-lost brother. 1 for you, 1 for me. Big Dipper took out 1 invitation and handed it to 7 Star. 7 Star. Sis Feng, eldest young Master Shen is truly a money bag. We have to stay in close contact with Brother Shen from now on. Big Dipper said to Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan glanced at him but didn't respond. Sis Feng, are you going to the Shen family's banquet? 7 Star asked her. Yi Wanwan pondered over it for a moment before replying. Since he gave us invitations, of course we have to go. Nonsense. We'll get extravagant presents if we go to the Shen family's banquet. Didn't you hear Brother Shen say he'll give presents to anyone who comes? Whoever isn't going, give me your invitations, Big Dipper quickly said. After Big Dipper and 7 Star left, Tang Tang walked out from his hiding spot and sat next to Yi Wanwan docilely. Yi Wanwan was currently taking care of some documents concerning the Fearless Alliance. Mommy! Tang Tang called out softly as he looked at the documents in her hands. Yi Wanwan looked up. What is it, Tang Tang? There are some problems with the documents Mommy just finished, Tang Tang replied. Yi Wanwan was startled. Some problems? But she didn't think there were any problems. Tang Tang pulled one of the documents back out and said, Mommy, the Ling family is located in the Prison Alliance's territory. If the Fearless Alliance wants to attack the Ling family, they would have to obtain Prison's agreement or else it'll result in great trouble. Yi Wanwan. Tong Tong's too awesome. Mommy didn't notice. Yi Wanwan couldn't resist pinching Tong Tong's fair and delicate cheeks. Most of the daily affairs concerning the Fearless Alliance mostly involved attacking some faction, but Yi Wanwan wasn't proficient in this area. She was thankful for Tong Tong's reminder today, or else she would have provoked a disaster. Mommy, it looks like your skills in handling business affairs aren't too great, so can Tang Tang work with Mommy at the Fearless Alliance from now on? Tang Tang asked while looking at Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan didn't know how to reply. She wanted to bring Tang Tang to the Fearless Alliance to work every day, but the Nye family definitely wouldn't allow it. After Yi Wanwan finished taking care of all the tedious business, she drove Tang Tang and herself back to the Nye district. That night, Yi Wanwan stayed in Tong Tong's room. In the next few days, Yi Wanwan went to the Fearless Alliance during the day and returned to the Nye residence to keep Tang Tang company in the evening. She didn't forget about piece of shit, Ishurahin's request, but the investigation was a bit difficult. Yi Wanwan couldn't figure out where to start. In truth, the simplest method was to check their DNA, but Yi Wanwan learned that worryless Nye already had her DNA checked, and it matched with Madame Nye and Patriarch Nye's DNA, and proved she was Tong Tong's biological mother. If Yuanwan only based the investigation off of that, worryless Nye wasn't a fake. Yi Shuihan wasn't dumb though, so he probably knew they checked their DNA already, so why did he still request her help to investigate? Chapter 1525. 1525. Late at night, Yuanwan laid on the bed while embracing Tang Tang. She called out softly, "Tang Tang." "Mommy, I'm not asleep yet," Tang Tang replied quickly. "Don't you like your mommy, Tang Tang?" Yuanwan asked with a tinge of confusion. Tang Tang hugged Yuanwan tightly. "Tang Tang likes mommy." "I'm talking about your biological mom," Yuanwan said. Tang Tang sunk into silence. A moment later he said, "It's not that I dislike my biological mommy, I just like you more, mommy." Yuanwan smacked a kiss on Tong Tong's cheek. Immediately, Tang Tang returned a kiss on her cheek. "Tang Tang, what was your mom like before?" Yuanwan asked. "Mommy left as soon as I was born," Tang Tang answered. Yuanwan's heart ached as she looked at Tang Tang. Poor baby Tang Tang, he didn't have parents since he was born. Paternal and maternal love were probably very strange to him, huh? For some reason, Yuanwan wanted to give everything she had to Tang Tang, but unfortunately, she didn't have anything. Although she knew she wasn't Tong Tong's biological mother, she had an indescribable feeling toward Tang Tang from the first time she met him. Yuanwan herself didn't know why, but she inexplicably treated him like her own son. Yuanwan would often even think about how good it'd be if Tang Tang was really her child. "Tang Tang, did you and your mom check your DNA?" Yuanwan asked. "It was checked before she returned home. There weren't any problems," Tang Tang answered. Yuanwan nodded. That was somewhat strange then. Or perhaps, worryless Nye wasn't a fake, and Yi Shuihan was merely overly cautious? If even worryless Nye's DNA was verified, what was there for her to investigate? Wouldn't she be making a mountain out of a molehill? However, if someone dared to pretend to be a daughter of the Nye family, they must have made adequate preparations beforehand. So could the DNA be wrong or faked? Yuanwan thought to herself. If her guess was true and even the Nye family, one of the 4 great clans of the independent state, was deceived, then this matter definitely wouldn't be so simple. If that worryless Nye was truly fake and she relentlessly pursued it, her life might be at risk. Yuanwan was lost in thought for a moment. Who am I right now? The president of the Fearless Alliance. I'm one of the most infamous people in the independent state, bro flat top / by phone. People are afraid of me. How could I be afraid of other people instead? Moreover, the Fearless Alliance is now completely under my control, and all of the camps have pledged allegiance to me. As long as the real bro flat top doesn't come back, I'm by phone. Even if I relentlessly pursue this matter and, to take it further, brazenly investigate this matter, who would dare to cause trouble with my Fearless Alliance? Oh right, Tang Tang, can mommy ask for your help with something? Yuanwan quietly asked while looking at Tang Tang. Yes mommy, tell me. Tang Tang nodded. Yuanwan leaned close to Tong Tong's ear. Tang Tang looked a bit astonished when he heard what she said. Mommy, why do you want that? Be good, Tang Tang. Mommy can't tell you yet, but can Tang Tang do it? Yuanwan smiled. Chapter 1526. 1526. Tang Tang mulled over it for a moment before agreeing. Yes, I can do it. Tang Tang must remember that this is a secret between Tang Tang and mommy. Tang Tang can't tell everyone, understand? Yuanwan emphasized. Yes, I understand, Tang Tang replied. Only then did Yuanwan resolve a troublesome matter. No matter what, she couldn't treat any matter regarding Tang Tang lightly. It would be fine if that worryless Nye was real. If she was a fake, the thought was terrifying. As long as Tang Tang did as she said, the truth of the matter would be known. She could give Yi Shuihan an answer even if that worryless Nye was the real thing. The next day, after Yuanwan reviewed the documents at the Fearless Alliance, she didn't return to the Nye residence and drove to the Shun district instead. Shun district, the home of the Shun family, one of the independent state's 4 great clans. Yuanwan looked at the invitation in her hand. She followed the address written on the invitation and parked near the Shun residence. As soon as Yi Wanwan exited the car, a group of men in well-ironed suits immediately walked forward and shouted, "No parking near the Shin residence." However, before Yi Wanwan could respond, one of the men caught glimpse of the invitation in Yi Wanwan's hand. "Apologies. Are you here to attend the banquet?" The arrogance disappeared from the man's face. Yi Wanwan nodded. "Eldest young master Shun's breakup banquet." "Oh, it's a misunderstanding. Please follow me." The man smiled courteously and bowed as he made a pleased gesture with his arm. Many pretty women from the independent state would loiter around the Shun residence, especially during banquets. Nearly all the people attending the Shun family's banquet were famous powerful figures in the independent state, so women could live the rest of their lives worry-free if they managed to fish one or two. They had just arrived in the Shun residence's proximity when the man's phone started ringing. "Apologies." The man looked at Yi Wanwan embarrassed. "No worries," Yi Wanwan replied. After gaining her permission, the man accepted the call. "What are you saying, eldest young master? You want me to go and receive Lord Azura?" "I'm receiving a lady right now." The man's expression shifted. Yi Wanwan was immediately interested at the mention of Lord Azura. Could it be that eldest young master Shin even managed to invite Lord Azura to his breakup banquet? What? Emperor Ji as well? You want me to receive Emperor Ji as well? Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan's lips twitched. She had probably underestimated this landlord's foolish son. Not only did he invite her, the president of the Fearless Alliance, but he also invited Lord Azura. He even managed to get a hold of Ji Shiran. What a great accomplishment. "Honorable lady, apologies, but can you please wait for me here? Eldest young master ordered me to bring over 2 important guests first. May I?" The man inquired while looking at her after hanging up. "Sure, no worries. Do what you need first," Yi Wanwan agreed with a nod. "Honorable lady, wait here and don't walk around carelessly. Also, don't enter the Shun residence by yourself. The Shun residence is too large, so you'd definitely get lost without my guidance." Then the man left without looking back. Yi Wanwan. Why did it sound a bit patronizing? The Shun residence was too large so she'd get lost? What kind of meme is that? After the male host left, Yi Wanwan patiently waited by the sidewalk. Don't tell me he's going to bring over both Lord Azura and Ji Shiran in a bit. Chapter 1527. Before Yi Wanwan could ponder over it anymore, she was shoved from behind. Yi Wanwan turned around and stared at the prettily dressed young girls in front of her. What? Yi Wanwan furrowed her brows. She didn't know or recognize these girls. "Ha, don't you know the rules?" One of the good-looking girls glanced at Yi Wanwan. "You're dressed so innocent and cute. Are you planning to hook some men near the Shin residence too? What pen did a pheasant like you crawl out of? Don't you know first come first served? Who allowed you to stand here?" Yi Wanwan turned pensive when she heard that. Nameless Nia once mentioned that dozens of decent-looking girls would dress meticulously every time the Shen family held a banquet, then loiter near the Shen residence. If they could run into a romantic relationship by chance, they might be able to soar to success. It appeared these girls were those girls who considered themselves decent-looking mentioned by Nameless Nia. Based on their tone, it appeared they thought she was like them. The leading girl snorted and said as she stared at Yi Wanwan, "Heh, you have good looks, but unfortunately, you don't know how to behave properly. It wouldn't be good if your face was scratched." Yi Wanwan swept her eyes over them, but couldn't scrounge up even a tinge of desire to acknowledge them. "Bitch, sis Zhou is talking to you. Are you deaf? Haven't you heard of Yin City's Zhou family? Don't you know the eldest miss of the Zhou family?" A girl shouted while glaring at Yi Wanwan. Nearly all these girls came from patrician families and could be considered socialites, but they were as different as day and night from those truly prestigious patrician families and weren't qualified to attend the Shin family's banquets, so they could only linger outside. And rumors claimed that eldest young Master Shun's ex-girlfriend was also a girl that lingered outside like them. "Little sis, your target couldn't possibly be eldest young Master Shun, right?" the leading girl questioned coldly. However, Yi Wanwan silently stood in her spot and didn't respond to them. "Ha! If you're planning to go after eldest young Master Shen, I'm advising you to give up now. Eldest young Master Shen is mine. Do you understand? The leading girl sneered. Yi Wanwan wasn't paying attention to what these women were saying at all though. Her eyes were locked onto the distance. Ji Xiran was dressed in a casual outfit and had a faint smile on his lips. Meanwhile, the man to the left of Ji Xiran wore an aloof expression, and his eyes looked like they harbored a millennium-old glacier. As soon as the two men appeared, the girls around her gasped in shock. That's Ji Xiran. Emperor Ji. Who's the man next to Emperor Ji? So handsome. I heard Lord Azura was also coming tonight. Someone who could walk next to Emperor Ji. He can't be the legendary Lord Azura, right? Lord Azura? The master of Azura, one of the three core factions of prison, Lord Azura? Sisjo, look. Emperor Ji and Lord Azura are heading toward us. Sisjo, Emperor Ji is looking at you. My God. The leading woman smiled faintly and tried to maintain her grace. If it's Emperor Ji, then I don't want eldest young Master Shen anymore. Sisjo. Emperor Ji really is looking at you. He's also walking toward us. The girls looked head over heels with excitement. However, to everyone's shock, this group stopped in front of that woman who didn't know the rules. Honorable lady, I've made you wait a long time. My sincere apologies. The male host from the Shen family quickly apologized as soon as he reached Yi Wanwan. No worries, Yi Wanwan replied. Xiaofeng, you're here. Ji Xiran greeted Yi Wanwan. All the socialites around them froze in their spots, incredulous. Yes, Yi Wanwan nodded. Yi Wanwan's eyes landed on Si Yihan. Heh. Lord Azura is in a rather good mood. I didn't expect to see you at eldest young Master Shen's breakup banquet today. Si Yihan looked at her. President Baifeng is in a better mood. The women standing behind Yi Wanwan were dumbstruck when they heard Lord Azura speak. Sis Zhou and her groupies turned to Yi Wanwan incredulously. Baifeng? The president of the Fearless Alliance. Baifeng. Chapter 1528. The women around Yi Wanwan froze in their spots and turned to Yi Wanwan incredulously. They originally thought this woman was the same as them. Who would have expected her to be an honored guest invited by the Shen family? More than that, she knew Emperor Ji, and Lord Azura called her President Baifeng. Baifeng, the leader of the independent state's Fearless Alliance. Sis Zhou looked terrified and ghastly pale. What did she do to Bro Flattop of the Fearless Alliance? President Bai. Sisjo's voice was brimming with panic and distress. However, before Sisjo could finish speaking, Yi Wanwan walked forward with the Shen group without looking back, as though she didn't hear her. An uproar erupted after the group walked into the distance. My God. That woman is the founder of the Fearless Alliance, Bro Flattop, Baifeng. Rumors say Bro Flattop kills people without blinking, and there aren't any factions who are willing to offend her easily. I didn't expect Baifeng to be so young. I originally thought Baifeng was vicious and malicious looking with a body full of muscles. This doesn't match at all. This woman wearing a white dress with high heels, who was as beautiful as blooming begonias, was actually Bro Flattop. Some nearby socialites turned to Sis Zhou and her group and snorted. Miss Zhou, what are you afraid of? What level and status is Baifeng, the president of the Fearless Alliance? Why would she seek retribution from you? She probably thought you were heir the entire time. That's right. She's suicidal, putting on airs so haughtily without knowing the other person's identity. She thinks she's all that, but even the entire Zhou family would bow and scrape if they met a member of the Fearless Alliance. Yet Miss Zhou dared to yell at President Fearless like that. Is she asking for death? Baifeng is a ferocious beast, a tiger. How could you possibly focus on a dog? Don't be so delusional and think President Baifeng would seek revenge from you. How ridiculous. Sis Zhou's expression shifted again and again as she listened to the ridicule from the socialites around her, but couldn't rebut anything. At the same time, the hosts of the Shen family led Yi Wanwan, Ji Xiran, and Lord Azura toward the Shen residence. They didn't talk much on the way there. The three of them walked side by side, and Yi Wanwan naturally walked next to Ji Xiran. obviously showcasing who she was familiar and unfamiliar with. Xiaofeng, you should come home for a meal when you're free, Ji Xiuran said with a light chuckle. Yi Wanwan was startled briefly and nodded in agreement. Sure. Lord Azura's frosty eyes swept over Ji Xiuran, akin to a light breeze running over the surface of the ocean. Ji Xiuran's light-colored eyes turned to look at the girl, who was dressed in a completely different style than before. Yi Wanwan turned to look at him when she detected his gaze. What? Ji Xiuran examined the girl. Your attire today. Yi Wanwan raised her brows. What? Is it really strange? Ji Xiuran replied. It's very beautiful. Right? I also think so. Yi Wanwan nodded in satisfaction. She didn't believe there were men who weren't suckers for dainty and fragile flowers. At least Si Yihan would gulp up this act. Back then, she just needed to feign some delicacy and weakness, and her pacification would double in effect. Chapter 1529. Ji Xiuran chuckled lightly. I've never seen you dressed like this. Yi Wanwan purposefully glanced at Lord Azura before matter-of-factly saying, because a girl will doll herself up for a man who loves her. Ji Xiuran smiled but didn't say anything. As for a certain someone, the dead branch he accidentally stepped on just happened to turn into powder. Yi Wanwan secretly peeked at the man who looked frosty and expressionless, but the aura around him was clearly becoming stifling. As expected, her instincts were right. As long as Emperor Ji was present, a certain someone was more prone to exposing his flaws. A moment later, the parade of people arrived at the entrance to the Shen residence. Yi Wanwan's lips twitched when she saw the expansive Shen residence, stretching farther than her eyes could see. Was this a residence? This was a freaking palace, right? Yi Wanwan finally understood why that male host said she would get lost in the Shen residence. The sight of the Shen estate rendered her speechless. In front of the Shen estate were two enormous dragon-shaped statues that stretched about 100 meters long and reached dozens of meters in height. They resembled real dragons, vivid and detailed. As Yi Wanwan became engrossed in the two dragon statues, a portly middle-aged man with a prosperous look strolled out of the building and greeted Si Yihan and Ji Xiuran with a benevolent smile. Ha ha ha, Emperor Ji, an honored guest. It's truly been a long time. Thank you for attending the Shen family's banquet today. Your presence brings light to my humble dwelling. What are you saying, Uncle Shen? It's my honor to be able to attend the Shen family's banquet. Ji Xiuran chuckled lightly. Haha, Emperor Ji is too kind. Patriarch Shen laughed heartily and turned to Lord Azura. Lord Azura, we haven't seen each other for many years, so we must share a few extra drinks today. How about it? Si Yihan nodded at Patriarch Shen and said, Uncle Shen is too polite. Since you're the one asking, I'll oblige, of course. In the independent state, every faction, regardless of its size, had an economic connection with the Shen family, so even the martial arts union would show some degree of respect to the Shen family. Yi Wanwan couldn't help but marvel at the portly middle-aged man. Patriarch Shen didn't put on any airs and was truly friends with every faction. No wonder he controlled the economic lifeline of the independent state, and was able to expand his business into every corner of the independent state. Haha, Emperor Ji, Lord Azura, quickly follow me. I've prepared a magnificent gift for the two of you. After Patriarch Shen said that, he grabbed Lord Azura and Ji Xiuran's hands with familiarity, and led them into the Shen residence. Yi Wanwan watched as Patriarch Shen left while holding Lord Azura's hand with one hand and Ji Xiuran's with the other hand. Why did this feel a bit weird? Honorable lady, please show us your invitation. A Shen family attendant said to Yi Wanwan with a smile. Yi Wanwan immediately handed her invitation to the woman. Before the woman could say anything, eldest young Master Shen suddenly walked to their spot, his eyes emitting light as he intently stared at Yi Wanwan and shook his head while clucking his tongue. Beautiful miss, we meet again. I'm truly happy to see you. If you didn't come, my banquet would have been utterly meaningless. Eldest young Master Shen said to Yi Wanwan in an over-the-top manner. The breakup banquet you're holding doesn't have a freaking thing to do with whether I come or not, okay? Here. Take this. Eldest young Master Shen took out a bank card from somewhere, and handed it to Yuan. This. Yuan was bewildered as she stared at the bank card stuffed into her hand. Chapter 1530. It doesn't have a PIN code. Eldest young Master Shin said. No, I'm saying. Use it however you want, he added. Yuan. Is this my gift for attending the banquet? Yuan asked with a frown. Of course. Everyone has one. But some people get gold bricks while other people get jewelry, a house, or a car. You get a bank card. Eldest young Master Shin looked immensely proud. Let me kneel before you, Lord Moneybags. Come, beautiful miss. Let me show you the guardian deities in front of my house. Eldest young Master Shin acted like a peacock displaying his tail feathers. He eagerly trailed after Yuan and introduced the two vivid, realistic-looking dragons standing in front of the Shin residence to her. What eldest young Master Shin didn't notice was two pairs of eyes imperceptibly glancing at him, and Yuan frequently. He just felt a chill run down his back for some reason. Years ago, my father had a famous master sculpt these statues. The materials aren't typical at all. Do you know how much one dragon costs? Eldest young Master Shin asked Yuan. How much? Yuan was curious. This dragon looked like it would cost at least 2 million probably. Seriously filthy rich. Eldest young Master Shin put out 5 fingers. 5 million. Yuan was startled. Wasn't this too freaking extravagant? Plus 10. Eldest young Master Shin chuckled. 1 million? Yuan asked. Eldest young Master Shin shook his head. 50 million. That's not called plus 10, that's freaking called times 10. In other words, just the 2 dragon statues in front of the Shin residence's entrance cost 100 million. How about, you give these 2 statues to me? Yuan asked as she turned to eldest young Master Shin. The young master started, as though he didn't expect Yuan to suggest that. If you want them, I can hire a famous master to sculpt 2 for you. These are old now. How can I give old ones to you? Don't. I'm just joking. Please don't take it seriously. Yuan hastily refused. Even if this landlord's foolish son really made 2 for her, she wouldn't have anywhere to put them. Moreover, the cost was astronomical. She couldn't accept it. Ha, old pal Shen. Before Yuan could continue, Nameless Nya appeared behind her and cupped his fists at eldest young Master Shin. Brother Nya, here, this is yours. Eldest young Master Shin promptly took out a brick of gold and handed it to Nameless Nya. Look at you, old pal Shen. You're so polite in spite of our familiarity. Nameless Nya looked displeased, but he quickly put away the gold brick. Sister Famous, you also came? Only after putting away the gold brick did he notice Yuan. I just arrived. Yuan answered. Yuan was about to ask Nameless Nya if Tang was home when several groups of young men and women holding themselves ramrod straight walked toward them. Scarlet Flames Academy, Stars and Sun Academy, Dawn Clouds Academy. Waves of gasps were heard around them when people saw these groups. These 3 groups of young men and women were all at least SS-level mercenary students in the 3 great mercenary academies. Some people even discovered SSS-level mercenary students in there. Senior Brother Shin, we've arrived. I wish you a happy breakup. An SSS-level mercenary student from Scarlet Flames tried to conjecture words of congratulations for half a day, but couldn't find anything suitable. So he had no choice but to bless eldest young Master Shin truthfully with an embarrassed expression. Senior Brother Shin? Yuan was surprised. She quietly asked Nameless Nya. Eldest young Master Shin is also a student of Scarlet Flames Academy? Chapter 1531. Nameless Nya nodded. Of course. Don't underestimate old pal Shin. But he's one of the few SSS-level mercenaries at Scarlet Flames Academy. 3S level? Yuan looked surprised and started to re-examine eldest young Master Shin. 3S level could be considered the peak of martial arts already. Unless they encountered top bosses in the independent state, they could do whatever they wanted. There were even some top 3S level mercenaries who could challenge the top bosses of the independent state and defeat them. Of course, piece of shit. Ishuehan, was an exception to this. Yuanwan couldn't help but feel confused. Didn't people previously say that the Shen family was only composed of businessmen, and they didn't emphasize martial arts? So why was the eldest young master of the Shen family a 3S level mercenary student at the Scarlet Flames Academy? She would have a whole new level of respect for eldest young master Shen from now on. Hey, what did I tell you? Don't refer to me as senior brother Shen. Call me by my mercenary alias. Eldest young master Shen furrowed his brows. The 3S level mercenary from Scarlet Flames Academy was startled before nodding frantically. Yes, senior brother Grim Reaper, I made a mistake. After they reached a certain level, every mercenary would start using their alias instead of their own name. For example, even though very few people knew Nameless Nia's name in the independent state, if someone said Nameless Nia's alias, it would be thunder to everyone's ears. However, Yuanwan also didn't know Nameless Nia's alias either. Grim Reaper. Yuanwan looked at eldest young master Shen incredulously, her mouth slightly agape. An elder from the Fearless Alliance once mentioned that a 3S level mercenary student from the Scarlet Flames Academy, whose alias was Grim Reaper, used to run amok without any inhibition in the independent state. Their martial strength was tremendous. Yuanwan never would have expected the eldest young master of the Shen family to be a 3S level mercenary of Scarlet Flames Academy. Grim Reaper. You're Grim Reaper? Yuanwan looked at eldest young master Shen reverently. The one and only. Eldest young master Shen smiled. Before Yuanwan could continue worshipping him, Nameless Nia whispered in Yuanwan's ear. Old pal Shen bought his title with money. Bought it with money? Yuanwan looked baffled. What does he mean? Ahem. Nameless Nia looked embarrassed as he quietly explained to Yuanwan. 2 years ago, old pal Shen sought out Grim Reaper of Scarlet Flames Academy, and used a large amount of money to buy his alias. So in terms of copyright, Grim Reaper now belongs to old pal Shen. Yuanwan was dumbfounded. This kind of maneuver existed. You could buy an alias too. You have to understand the principle. Money will make the devil turn millstones. Nameless Nia giggled. Then, eldest young master Shen's 3S mercenary ranking couldn't have been bought too, right? Yuanwan asked. Oh, that definitely isn't bought. Nameless Nia shook his head frantically. A mercenary's ranking is decided according to their contribution level. Old pal Shen contributed a large number of weapons to Scarlet Flames Academy, renovated the entire academy, and built hundreds of luxurious dormitories. His contributions to Scarlet Flames Academy were immense, so he used his contribution points to squeeze into the ranks of 3S mercenaries. How is this not a freaking purchase? Don't underestimate young Master Shen. He completely fits the qualifications of a 3S level mercenary and has completed the most difficult, highest starred mission of Scarlet Flames multiple times. Nameless Nia continued. For example? Yuanwan didn't understand. I remember one of the missions was stealing something from Azura. Think about it. Which normal mercenary would dare to rob Azura? However, old pal Shen dared to rob Azura single-handedly. Nameless Nia gave a thumbs up. And then, Yuanwan found it unbelievable that Azura just allowed the matter to slide. And then, old pal Shen gave dozens of millions of dollars to Azura, and this matter was resolved. Nameless Nia answered. Yuanwan. Well, this is very extravagant. Chapter 1532. So eldest young Master Shen completed those highly difficult missions in this manner. Although it was done by throwing money at people, he had the money, so what could you say? Today Yuanwan confirmed one thing. As long as you had money, everything was easily resolvable. As long as you had money, you could even slap the martial arts union's president. Worst came to worst, you could give money to the martial arts union. Easy peasy. Forget about Azura. If eldest young Master Shen robbed the Fearless Alliance, he could rob her however he wanted as long as he gave her money. She would even cooperate with him and wait at the designated location for him to rob her, or pretend to be defeated by him with a single finger. What are you saying? Eldest young Master Shen asked curiously, and returned to them after escorting the groups of young men and women inside the Shen residence. Nothing. Just praising how awesome you are. Yuanwan answered with a smile. That's right. Old pal Shen is the best. Nameless Nia nodded frantically. Ah, you're too polite. I'm only SOSO, but there isn't a single problem in the independent state that I can't resolve or settle. I'm sure you've heard of my alias as the Grim Reaper, so I don't need to say it explicitly. Eldest young Master Shen looked very proud of himself. Yuanwan grinned and gave eldest young Master Shen a thumbs up. Being rich is also a type of ability. Moreover, Yuanwan could do nothing but accept this type of ability. Only now did Yuanwan clearly realize that the Shen family was probably the strongest faction in the entire independent state. No faction would become enemies with the Shen family, and countless people wanted to ingratiate themselves with the Shen family. Let's go, what are we standing around for? Eldest young Master Shen smiled, and led Yuanwan and nameless Nia into the Shen estate. Ah, my home is truly too large. I should have driven my car here. Eldest young Master Shen smiled helplessly. Yuanwan, nameless Nia said. Old pal Shen, awesome. Yuanwan examined the Shen estate. It had to be said that the residence was extremely gigantic and stretched farther than the eye could see. Truthfully speaking, it wouldn't be a problem for eldest young Master Shen to drive a car around. Oh right, old pal Shen, say, why are you throwing such great fanfare about a breakup? Nameless Nia asked the man with incomprehension. Eldest young Master Shen took out a cigarette and lit it. Then he deeply inhaled and blew a ring of smoke, before turning to look at nameless Nia. A breakup should be dignified. That's true. Old pal Shen, your breakup is different from a normal person's breakup, so it should be full of dignity. Nameless Nia nodded vehemently. I also thought so at first. Eldest young Master Shen suddenly turned around and looked at Yuanwan, his lips turning up. I want to change this breakup banquet into a wooing banquet. What do you think? Yuanwan was startled. What does changing a breakup banquet into a wooing banquet have anything to do with me? This landlord's foolish son can't possibly want to woo me, right? Beautiful miss, do you have a boyfriend? Are you married? Eldest young Master Shen suddenly asked. Before Yuanwan could reply, nameless Nia's eyes brightened and he quickly answered. No. How could she possibly be married or have a boyfriend? She's completely single, okay? Yuanwan. You freaking answered so fast. Brother Shen, to be honest, I was deeply attracted by this miss since the first time I saw her. Eldest young Master Shen said with deep affection. Chapter 1533. Nameless Nia laid his arm around Yuanwan's shoulders. Old pal Shen, I'm telling you, this is my younger sister. Don't you think we share a resemblance? She's my parents' foster daughter. If it was anybody else who dared to pursue my sister, I would have slapped him to death. However, you old pal Shen aren't just anyone else, so I'll reluctantly agree to your marriage. But about the betrothal gift, you know how both my sister and I are people who need to look good. Brother Shen, don't worry, the betrothal gift isn't a problem. I'm also someone who needs to look good. Eldest young Master Shen clapped his chest. Yuanwan, what's going on? Old pal Shen, this isn't a pressing matter. It's just the betrothal gift. It's the thought that counts. Come, let's discuss it. Nameless Nia said cheerfully. Wait. I still need to ask your sister whether she likes me. Even if it's a superfluous question, since there isn't a woman in the independent state who would dislike me. Eldest young Master Shen smiled and looked at Yuanwan sincerely. Beautiful miss, do you like me? Yuanwan glanced at eldest young Master Shen. Where did his confidence come from? What's your name? Yuanwan asked. Grim Reaper, he answered. Real name, Yuanwan sighed. Shen Tianchen. Eldest young Master Shen answered. Oh, then I don't like you. Yuanwan shook her head. Don't like me? Eldest young Master Shen was surprised. That's not a problem. I can change my name. It doesn't have much to do with your name. Yuanwan replied after a moment of thought. Nice. Eldest young Master Shen looked incredibly excited. Do you know that you're the first girl to reject me? I know those girls who like me actually only fancy my money and not my talent. Nameless Nia looked at him. Old pal, what's your talent? Being rich. Eldest young Master Shin took a deep drag of his cigarette. Great. Nameless Nia gave eldest young Master Shin a thumbs up. If my sister can get with an honest and earnest person like you, old pal Shin, I would be utterly comforted. I agree to your marriage. Nameless Nia didn't allow eldest young Master Shin to speak and pulled Yi Wanwan to the side. He quietly said, Damn. Sister Famous, is your head okay? If you get with old pal Shin, you'll live in the lap of luxury from now on. If you manage to be married to old pal Shin, you'll be the madam of the Shin family and everything from the Shin family would belong to you. Every faction in the independent state, even the martial arts union, would act according to your wishes. And I can also mooch off of your greatness. How wonderful would this be? Yi Wanwan glanced at Nameless Nia. You mooching off is the main point, isn't it? Nameless Nia furrowed his brows. Sister, how could you say that? Am I that greedy for money in your eyes? Yes. Yi Wanwan nodded with conviction. Nameless Nia stared at Yi Wanwan. Sister Famous, really? I'm just doing this for you. Aren't you poisoned by the love goo? This can't be dragged out. You have to think of a way to cure it. I think that old pal Shin is quite nice, what do you think? Yi Wanwan was about to reply when eldest young Master Shin walked toward them and said, Brother Nia, don't be like this. A forcefully twisted melon isn't sweet. Chapter 1534 Nameless Nia. Great. A high-quality man that won't force people like old pal Shin is exactly the kind of man I admire. Yi Wanwan glanced at Nameless Nia. He simply wants me to be married to eldest young Master Shin. Beautiful miss, how about I call a servant to drive my car here, and I can take you on a ride around my bedroom or show you around the indoor playground that I built. Eldest young Master Shin smiled at Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan glanced at him, her lips twitching, but she couldn't utter a single word. Truly, wealthy people could do whatever they pleased. Ahem. Old pal Shin, today is your breakup banquet. We should head to the banquet venue first. Nameless Nia suggested. Yes, you're right, brother Nia. Eldest young Master Shin nodded and led them forward. A moment later, the trio arrived at the banquet venue. The venue was packed with people already. Aside from the powerful figures from different factions, Worryless Nia and Nia Linglong were also standing amongst the crowd. Yi Wanwan surveyed the crowd from the corner of her eyes. Ji Xiran was wearing a faint smile as he quietly conversed with Lord Azura, and the duo would occasionally lean in and whisper to each other, akin to old friends who hadn't seen each other in many years. Yi Wanwan couldn't help but marvel at how these two clearly had a hostile relationship before, yet none of it could be seen in this setting, and they looked like very good friends instead. Normal people probably couldn't act so friendly with each other. Eat. Eat with all you've got. 7-star. The thing you're eating is too cheap. Eat this, it's expensive. You dummy. When Yi Wanwan was about to walk toward Lord Azura and Ji Xiran, a very familiar voice was heard from the crowd. She was startled, and her gaze automatically shot toward the origin of the sound. What entered her vision was Big Dipper wearing a suit and holding a plate covered in rare and precious food. 7-star was standing next to Big Dipper, and embarrassment flooded his face when he saw the strange glances from the people around them. Come eat this. I'm telling you, this thing is extremely expensive, and you can't even eat it outside. Later, when we leave, we'll get a bag and take more back, Big Dipper said as he ate. How about you go over there to eat? I'll wait for you here, 7-star suggested after a moment of silence. What nonsense are you saying? You should eat too. After we finish eating here, we'll go to the other side to eat. I saw even better food over there, Big Dipper said. Yi Wanwan involuntarily face-bombed when she witnessed this scene. So disgraceful. He's even brought shame to his grandma's house. Doesn't the Fearless Alliance also feed him tasty food? Old 7 say, is sis phone not coming? I can't reach her phone and still haven't seen her. What's going on? Big Dipper looked confused and started examining his surroundings. Yi Wanwan covered her face. Afraid that Big Dipper would approach and recognize her, she hastily turned around. wanting to leave the area. However, before Yi Wanwan could take more than a few steps, Big Dipper suddenly sprinted toward her. Damn. No way. Big Dipper stood next to Yi Wanwan and inspected her up and down, disbelief filling his face. You're Sis Foam? Why would Sis Foam dress so femininely? I'm not, you've got the wrong person, Yi Wanwan expressionlessly denied. What does he mean by dressing so femininely? Impossible. You're Sis Foam. Big Dipper was astonished. In his recollection, Yi Wanwan always dressed androgynously or wore pure Black Widow outfits. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.